The following is an exclusive high-definition presentation of the UFL on HDNet.
They want to stay tuned up, and we're trying to win the game, so there's going to be a lot of fireworks and a lot of excitement going on.
We started the season trying to get better every week. We were going to work every week to get better. And this is one of those weeks. We need to work to get better. We've got 2 games left, 2 weeks of work that we can get better.
In Las Vegas, fortunes can change just like that. The home team Locos are on a roll, and the New York Sentinels coming in hoping to get something going in what has been a winless season. It is the season finale of the regular part of the UFL, the Sentinels at the Locos, live here at Sam Boyd Stadium. And welcome to the pregame show here on HDNet. Hello, everyone. Kenny Rice along with Paul McGuire. Glad that you could be with us as we wrap up the regular season. It has gone by fast. And, Paul, you've been in a situation coming into the final game of a season. Most of the time, you were going to a championship game, 6 of those in your career. But a few times you were on the other end, kind of like New York, where you just had one game and that was it. So what's going on here with these teams?
Well, it's kind of a tough situation for New York. You got to remember, they're not going anywhere after this week. They're going home. But the thing about it is they've had scouts all year long, or in 6 games, looking at these guys. And the one thing that they have to keep in mind, they're not trying to win this game for the coach. They're trying to win this game for themselves. They don't want to go out as a complete loser. So what happens to these guys in their future, as far as the National Football League is concerned, is what they do tonight. And I'm going to tell you something. You can't play safe. You have to play all out.
Ted Cottrell, we talked to him yesterday. That's what he's hoping his team will do, that they'll come in here and let it go. They really have nothing else to lose. They're 0-5 coming in. For Vegas coming into this game, we know that 7 days from now they'll be in the same stadium. They're playing Florida for the championship. And what a job Jim Fossil has done with this team from the get-go in putting this team together and keeping them on course. But it's going to be a little different look tonight. They are losing a major player, at least for this game. He's sitting out as a precautionary measure. That is starting quarterback J.P. Lossman out of action tonight.
Well, J.P. Lossman jammed that finger, but it's on his non-throwing hand. You see the left finger there? And the problem here is that when he takes a snap, especially when he's under center, he's got both hands together, that ball pops up, and it's going to hit him in that little finger. So the only way possibly he could play tonight, if he did, would be from the shotgun position. And I don't think they want to go ahead and do that. Let's not do that. Let's give Rattay a shot.
Tim Rattay, you might remember him from Louisiana Tech days and San Francisco 49er days. He is starting tonight. He has thrown only 2 passes all year. That is only 1 more than wide receiver Tab Berry did on an end-around option.
And the only problem with those 2 passes is that they didn't connect with anybody. So he's 0 for in the UFL.
Well, we'll see how Rattay does tonight, getting his first start in the United Football League. Quinn Gray, on the other hand, for New York, his coach, Ted Cottrell, telling us yesterday he's not at full strength. He got injured last week, but he's going to play tonight, going to start.
And he's one of those guys, you see him getting whacked there, but he's one of those guys that plays injured. You would take a look at the shot he takes. I mean, he does get hammered. Gets the ball away, but he's going to play.
And as you mentioned earlier, Paul, Gray is one of those guys, too, with something to prove. He wants to show that he still might have a shot. Maybe somebody out there in the NFL will be looking his way, or maybe he'll be coming back to the UFL next year as a starter. Either way, we know we have 2 healthy sideline reporters again this week, Ron Kruk and Natalie Taylor. Let's go down to the Vegas sideline first. Ron.
Ready to go down here, Kenny. Well, you mentioned the injuries to the quarterbacks, but there are a lot of guys who are playing hurt at this point in the season. Las Vegas listed 14 players on the official injury report this week, including all 3 of their running backs. Dede Dorsey is probable with a bruised foot. Marshall Shipp, he's questionable with a bad knee. And Josh Scobie is also questionable with a hip injury. Now, I just spoke with head coach Jim Fossil, and he told me he believes Dorsey will get the start, but Shipp and Scobie will see some playing time tonight. So we definitely have a running back by committee situation tonight. To talk about the New York Sentinels, we go across the field where Natalie Taylor is standing by. Hey, Nat.
Hey, thanks, Ron. And Coach Cottrell said he was a little questionable about Quinn Gray starting. Quinn Gray will tell you the opposite. He knew he was going to play. He did go down in the first half of New York's last game with a left hip pointer, but he says he's feeling strong, practiced all week, and is very confident that he's going to play strong tonight. Guys, back up to you.
And coming into this game, you know, you wonder a little bit about Vegas. They still want to stay fresh. They certainly don't want to risk hurting anyone. It seemed like it might be a little tougher for them in this situation than New York in some ways.
Yeah, well, they're going to rotate a lot of guys in this game. And the one thing, again, you're absolutely right. You just don't want to come out of this game with one injury. I mean, but you can't protect yourself. Kenny, if you play a protective kind of football, you are going to get hurt. So you have to complete this game. You know, I'm not too worried about Vegas. They know how to control the ball game.
And certainly Jim Fossil knows how to get a team ready for the postseason. He's been looking forward to this championship game since this season started, hasn't he, Ron?
Without a doubt, Kenny. One thing I've learned this season about Vegas head coach Jim Fossil is he is a motivator. All you have to do is sit down and speak with him for about 5 minutes, and you'll be ready to put on a helmet and pads and go hit somebody. So there's no doubt he has his team focused and prepared for New York tonight and not looking ahead to next week's UFL championship game with the Florida Tuskers. Coach Fossil recently discussed this important game, what he called a very dangerous game.
The worst thing you can do is look at a team and see their record and say, oh, they're just bad. No, they've been in a lot of games. They had some opportunities to win some games. So if we don't play our best, then we could get beat. Very easily we could get beat. And I've told my team 1,000 times, it's not the best team that wins, it's the team that plays the best. And so we've got to, and the other thing I've been hammering them at them all week long is that I don't want us to take a deep breath this week and to relax. I want us to say, we started the season trying to get better every week. We were going to work every week to get better. And this is one of those weeks. We need to work to get better. We've got 2 games left, 2 weeks of work that we can get better.
New York has made some roster changes. They've also made some changes to their starting lineup. As I mentioned, they would love to go out of their debut season on a high note with the upset. How do you make sure that doesn't happen this week?
It's the same thing that I've told this team consistently over the years. No change. Is that, you know, every guy's got to win his individual battle. If we go out there and think collectively we're better than them because our record is better than them and we beat them last time, we will get beat. We will get beat.
And it'll be interesting to see as well, as you mentioned, Paul, how many of those guys are still around in that second half. We heard Ron earlier talk about some beat-up guys in the backfield as well as Lossman being out.
Yeah, and you listen to Fossil because he knows. Last week's game, just take for instance, they played California. We even said before the ball game, the team that makes the least amount of errors wins the football game. Las Vegas didn't turn the ball over one time. California did twice in crucial situations, and Las Vegas won the game.
And for New York, I mean, not that there's a consolation prize here for coming close, but they were actually in the game last week with Florida up to a point. That could be said a lot this season for Teddy Cottrell's team, couldn't it, Natalie?
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, I spent some time with New York and talking with the players, and a lot of them said that they wanted to win one for Coach Cottrell, and they all agreed that they had to win a game for pride. So I did spend time and sat down with Coach Cottrell to find out how important tonight would be for them to win a game and find out what it's going to take to do just that.
Huge in that it's the last game of the season. I've been talking to the players about the last game. You always, you know, want to go out on a good note because that's what you're going to remember.
You know, it's been interesting talking to a lot of your players. They all bring up how they want to win the game for you. And they all say how, you know, you've done such a good job and it's really important to do it. This has become personal now, I'm assuming. So how important is it for you as their coach?
Well, I'll tell you what, I feel really good that they said that, man. I just want to win, you know. That's some guys, I don't know, but do it for everyone, you know. This won a game. Because they work so hard, and I see progress each week. And we such a young group that you kind of hate for it to end because they're getting better.
You sound, I can just hear it in your voice, you sound very proud of these guys. It's like almost this league, I mean, the record obviously very important, but I can just tell you seem proud of them.
Yeah, I am that, because they've worked hard, you know, and And I told the guys, I want guys to work hard. They're good men, and they treat people with respect, and they come to play. And so that's how we're going to build this team. And those guys are in that group.
Interesting that you hear Ted Cottrell as he was talking to Natalie. I mean, he's kind of emotional about this team, Paul.
I've always liked this guy, one of the best defensive coordinators in the National Football League. And here's a guy that will take no nonsense. And he's already, he talked to us kind of privately about guys that will not be on his football team next year, will not get a phone call to come back. And tonight, they can kind of earn their way back into his good graces by hitting people and winning this football game.
And it comes back to, Paul, what you said at the start of this. Yeah, there's some pride things out there, but these guys also are pros. They want a job next year as well, try to impress somebody either in the NFL or in the UFL to return. And when we come back, we'll get ready to look ahead to next week. The Florida Tuskers, unbeaten, taking on the Las Vegas Locomotives right here at Sam Boyd Stadium. We'll talk more about the game tonight in the preview when we come back on the pregame show live on HDNet.
Welcome back to the UFL on HDNet.
And a beautiful night in the desert, 65 degrees. Have a slight wind coming from the northeast as we are about 15 minutes away from kickoff between the homestanding Locos taking on the New York Sentinels. And welcome back, everyone, to the HDNet pregame show. Paul, we know next week the championship game will be played right here, about 7 days away from that. We're going to look closer at that. But last night was also the final tune-up in the regular season for Florida, trying to stay undefeated.
And when you looked at that game last night, the people that saw it, you know that they didn't just write it in. They played this ball game, even though Florida's the only team that's going to the championship game from that game. California, I thought, had a really good chance of winning this football game.
And California made it close. Actually, Florida was a team that had to come from behind early on. Brooks Bollinger, pass deflected. The big man, Jason Stewart, has it. He's going. He's still going. 40 yards later, he's in for the score. California 7-3 in the first. Florida comes back thanks to Willie Andrews, one of the top return men in the league. 70 yards on this one. He may go, but no, look who gets him. Danny Bauer, the punter, standing right in there, forcing him out of bounds, but that set up this Andrew Pennock 1-yard burst up the middle. Later on, Florida mounts another drive. As you see Pennock doing the heavy lifting there, it was Michael Pittman's turn to take it in from 1 yard out, and it's 17-10 Florida in the second quarter.
And before the end of the half, California starts. It's their turn. Shane Boyd, 7-yard pass to Doug Gabriel. He's the guy with all the hair on his back. Then he comes back after another series of downs. He comes back, Shane Boyd does and throws an 8-yard pass to Nate Lowry. And the score at halftime is California 24, Florida's 20.
California added a field goal, 27-20 going into the fourth. Bollinger goes to work, 5-yard touchdown, Jason Foster. Then Boyd, who had a great night up until now, under pressure, intercepted. Darius Vanette, he may go, he's still going. Boyd running him down, saves the touchdown. But he runs it back 58 yards, and that sets up Michael Pittman with his second touchdown of the night. Florida scores 14 in the fourth quarter to come from behind. Yes, they had to come from behind to stay undefeated. 34-27 the final score as the Tuskers get the victory with Bollinger, 287 yards, 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown runs for Pittman. Shane Boyd, his best game. He had 2 touchdowns on the night and well over 200 yards, but it was a California team that came up just a little short there, even though they played so well. All right, now so we know that I'm sure that Las Vegas is taking a look at that game a little bit. They know coming in here that New York is smarting from being winless this season.
Yeah, they do. And the thing about it is when you look at this football game, Kenny, talking to Fossil in Las Vegas about this New York team, you can't take anybody for granted. The most important thing that Florida has to do, or Las Vegas has to do in this game, is to come out of this game injury-free. Now, so far they've been lucky through 5 games. So tonight is a big test for them. They know New York. I mean, I don't know of anyone in the 50 years that I've been associated with professional football that wants to be on a losing season. I mean, 0 wins.
Coming into next week, Paul, we know about the championship game set. You've been in championship games. We talked about that earlier. There are certain things that teams need. Both these teams, Florida and Vegas, it's not coincidence that they're playing for the title next week.
Well, if you go back to all of 42 Super Bowls and you take a look, there are three things that stand out more than anything else. Number one, they're the two healthiest teams to get into Super Bowl. Going into this championship, right now, they are the two healthiest teams. Number two, they have defenses that are usually ranked in the top 5. Now, there are only 4 teams in this league, but these two defenses are very, very good. And the third and most important thing, and look at all your Super Bowls, it's the quarterback position. And here, going into this Super Bowl, or this championship game, it is their Super Bowl.
It is.
This championship game, you have the two best quarterbacks in the league.
And they've been that way from the get-go. Brooks Bollinger, we saw him orchestrate the rally to win last night. Here's Bollinger in action. He has just been a cool customer all season long.
Bollinger, I mean, just you look where he puts the ball. The one thing about him, though, is as we watched him during the course of this year, he really reads defenses extremely well. He knows where to put the ball.
J.P. Lossman, questions about how would he do, how would everything work for him coming in here to this league, and he's responded for the most part.
For the most part, he's responded. But the one thing that Lossman and Fossil will tell you about him is his patience. Now, you saw the good pass deep, and then he took a little bit off on this pass here, but he's got to learn patience.
It is not a coincidence that the two best quarterbacks in the league also have the two best receiving cores. We look at Tay Biddle especially, and Maxwell, well, and Foster. And then you come to Kirkus and Thurman and Bergen on display here tonight. 6 solid receivers.
There are a lot of teams in the National Football League that like to get a few of these guys. These guys are legitimately good. These guys know how to run routes. They have outstanding hands. And they go, if the quarterback says, I'm not going to go to you right now, that's okay with them.
They say defense wins championships. What a defensive core that Florida has, particularly the linebackers, Odell Thurman, how well he's been playing as of late, and Tim McCarrigal, who's played great all season.
You take a look at where you build your football team from on the defense. It's from the linebackers, the middle linebacker and your outside linebackers. Both of these teams have outstanding linebackers. And, I think these are some of the first guys that they actually took. Lehman leads the league in tackles. This guy is such an outstanding athlete, but he reads offensive formations so well. He's there.
These teams have certainly done it all season long. They have 2 coaches, both named Jim, both former NFL coaches of the year. And from talking with both these guys, Paul, we mentioned Super Bowl earlier. It is the United Football League championship game. They're taking that Super Bowl mentality, though, as they want to come into this game. They talked to us about the title shot next Friday.
It's special. And I think because in the back of my mind, it would have been one of the hardest things to accept if they're playing a championship game in Las Vegas and we're not one of the participants. I didn't know who the other one would be, but I felt like it has to be us. Let's get to the line, get it going.
Your team has proven you can compete with Florida, but how do you beat them? What's going to be the key in this game?
There's some things on offense we need to do better. Pass protection-wise, provide the quarterback with better protection. Be consistent with our run game. Defensively, we've got to get pressure. And then our special teams, I think, have played well. I don't think we've played well against them as much as we have other teams. So they've got to try to become dominant in that game.
Well, we're going to do the same thing we've been doing for the last 8 weeks. We're going to continue to work hard and do the things we got a lot of corrections we got to make after this last game. We got some things to fix before we play this team. This team's a pretty good football team, and we beat them twice, so it's going to be harder to beat them 3 times. Well, I think it's different every time. And, they see more that you can do, and vice versa. So, you know a little more of their strengths, a little more of their weaknesses, and I think the team that can kind of take advantage of that will have a chance to win the game.
Just 7 days away at 3 p.m. Eastern Time on Versus, Florida Tuskers, Las Vegas Locomotives in the first UFL championship game. You know both these head coaches well, Paul. You listen to them one more time, and what do you learn from them getting ready for that big game?
You take 2 things away. You listen to Coach Fossil, and he says, we've got to do things better. And then you listen to Jim Haslett, and he sits back and he says, you know what? We have to correct some things. They do things better already. They just have to make a few corrections in their offense and defense. You know, when we talk to these guys going to the championship game, the guy says, you know, what's this feeling like? And Jim Fossil said it last week when we saw him. Are you kidding me? Tell me one coach that doesn't want to play in a championship game, and I don't care where it is. I want to be in the championship game, and we are.
And across the board, it is that way when you talk to the players. We saw Florida pushed a little bit last night. They had to come from behind. This is the kind of game Vegas wants to show they're ready, they're tuned up. And, of course, New York was something to prove. We'll hear from the players when we come back. Welcome back to Las Vegas. The action not just happening on the Strip, but a few miles away at Sam Boyd Stadium tonight, the regular season finale of the United Football League. The New York Sentinels with their starting quarterback Quinn Gray banged up a little bit, and on the right, the homestanding Locomotives of Vegas. Tim Rattay gets his first start. J.P. Lossman sitting this one out with an injured pinky finger on his non-throwing hand. And as we get ready to kick off one more time here, this UFL game, interesting how Vegas plays with Rattay. What all will they try to do or not try to do? Not probably showing Florida a whole lot for next week, I imagine.
No, I think, what is that term that they all use? Vanilla? There'll be a little vanilla in this ball game. Every game means something, you know. And I hate to hear when people say, "Well, it doesn't matter to Las Vegas because they're already in." Well, that's wrong. It does matter to them. They have a chance now to keep New York defeated their entire year, and they got a chance to take the positive attitude into the championship game.
And here's what Vegas said about coming into this game tonight and looking ahead to next week.
You have to play 1 week at a time. So, I mean, the championship game is coming up. You know, everyone's excited about that. But before that, we have this New York game to handle.
For us going in, we can't take it for granted. Even though we've made it to the championship, we've still got to take this game and act like it's a playoff game. Not only to get better, but just, you know, because if we get lax, you know, we could get beat.
They can be 0-6 or whatever, and they're just like, okay, season's over, let's go home. But if you give them any chance to hang around or let them get up on you, then you're going to get a good fight the whole time.
Well, we just got to go out there and play full speed and don't get complacent with it. I mean, we know that what they're capable of, and we know they have a lot of talent over there. I mean, if you remember week 1 when they played Florida, they jumped on Florida like 14-0. So we all know what they're capable of, so we just got to go out there and play.
And we're going to go in, take care of business, do what we need to do, understanding that they're a good team. They've got lots of good players, and they've got the ability to win, just like any professional team's got the ability to beat you at any time.
I mean, Florida's definitely in the back of our minds, but I mean, we have to get past New York before we even go to Vegas. And we're going to go out there and take this game like if it's a game we need to win to get there. And it's going to help us prepare for Florida as well.
We saw that deflection, Nick Turnbull hauling it in to end the game last week to defeat California. So they were tested a little bit. That was a wake-up call if they needed one.
Yeah, you know, and the thing about it is when you look at these guys, they know one thing. They cannot show Florida a whole lot, but they want to show them enough to get their attention.
Well, you don't have to get New York's attention. Everyone's asking them the same question. You're 0-5. What about this game? Okay, what about it?
Oh, we're going to have to go out and play. We're going to have to play in 4 quarters. We're going to have to play relentless, and we got to fly to the ball.
The same thing it takes every week, week in and week out. Execution, plays, not turning the ball over, and just being technically sound.
It's just going to take us playing as a team. I mean, that's something that we haven't been doing, just playing as a team, you know. So we're just going to go out tomorrow and give it our all and have fun and try to play together and at least end this thing on a positive note.
There's not much you can take from when you haven't won one game. Hopefully we take the positive start tomorrow. You know, it ends tomorrow, but it starts tomorrow, hopefully.
Total concentration, total focus, offense, defense, special teams, all 3 phases of the game. We come together as all 3 phases come together and play an entire 4 quarters. I believe we'll be able to come out victorious.
This game for us really just boils down to pride. You know, how bad do you want it, you know? Trying to get Coach Cottrell his first win of the year, being his first year coaching. That's really the biggest thing in my mind. I think it is for everybody.
It's a big deal. I mean, you always want to end on a good note, you know, and unfortunately everything's been pretty bad for us. But, you know, we just want to end on a good note, have fun, and, you know, just make the best out of it.
Well, you know, Quinn Gray probably summed it up, trying to get all three phases together. For most of the season, they've gotten two together.
Yeah, but the thing about it is that these guys next week, some of them will be here for the championship game, and then some of them will be watching on television saying, you know what, New York, we just beat these guys from Las Vegas. We just beat these guys. Our only win, but we beat them. And now they're in the championship game. That could be us next year.
And will it happen? We'll see, because you know what happens right after our pregame show? The kickoff live when we come back to Las Vegas. The Las Vegas Locos hosting the New York Sentinels here on HD Next.
The following is an exclusive high-definition presentation of the UFL on HDNet.
They want to stay tuned up, and we're trying to win the game, so it's going to be a lot of fireworks, a lot of excitement going on.
We started the season trying to get better every week. We were going to work every week to get better. And this is one of those weeks. We need to work to get better. We've got 2 games left, 2 weeks of work that we can get better.
Not far from one of the most famous strips of real estate in the U.S., Las Vegas, we come over to Sam Boyd Stadium for football action tonight. No gamble here. The Locos are going to the championship game. They're taking on the New York Sentinels, a team that's hoping one roll of the dice will finally go their way. They're 0-5 as we get ready for the regular season finale of the UFL here tonight at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas. Good evening, everyone. Kenny Rice, Paul McGuire. Glad that you could be with us this evening. We do know this, Paul. Coming up in 7 days, Florida will take on Las Vegas for the inaugural UFL championship game. We know that New York has not won a game this season. In your outstanding career, most of the time you were going to championship games. A few times you didn't. So what's it like as we take a look here at the standings?
Well, the thing about it is that you know that the scouts are out there looking at it. When these guys got into this league, the prime purpose was for those guys to get back into the National Football League, and they know that scouts have been watching them. Here's a game to prove how good you really are. You have nothing really to play for. You're not going to the championship game. You're not playing for the coach. Believe me, they're not playing for the coach. I'm talking about New York. They're playing to win a football game.
And they're playing for that personal pride, like you say, to let everybody know they're viable players themselves. We saw the standings, and it's been that way most of the season. They are the 2 best teams, New York and Las Vegas. A change for Vegas tonight. Coming in, their starting quarterback, J.P. Lossman, is sitting out this game, and Tim Rattay will be moving in to the starting lineup.
Well, Lossman broke his, we think he broke his finger on his left hand. You see that? It's not his throwing hand. But the problem is, if he's taking snaps up underneath the center, the ball pops up into his hand, and the first thing that it hits is that hand. So, hey, why play him? Why risk it? Because if he does play, he's going to have to take snaps from the shotgun situation.
He's resting up, ready for the championship. And meanwhile, Tim Rattay, who has thrown two passes, both incomplete, will be the starting quarterback tonight.
Well, that's not too good, but Tim Rattay, I mean, he deserves a chance to take a look at this field and throw the ball well. He is a good quarterback. He has played in the National Football League. They know he can throw the ball. He can read. Let the guy do what he knows. It's not going to be overwhelming for him, I don't think. I don't think they're going to put a whole lot in. But he's going to play well.
And the Florida Tuskers may be scratching their heads saying, hey, wonder what else they're going to do. We'll have to wait and see next week. Meanwhile, we know New York is going with a man who is battered and beaten and bruised, but Quinn Gray will start once again tonight for the Sentinels.
You know, Quinn Gray, you just got to look at his toughness. You're taking the shot here. You're going to see it again. He goes back to get the ball. Not only does he pick it up, not only does he know he's going to take a shot, but he gets it off. That's hustle.
And so Gray is ready to go, and he has talked about it. We hope to get all 3 phases going tonight, the special teams, the offense, defense, because they haven't done it all season long. All season long, the people that have been keeping you informed on the sideline are with us once again. Ron Kruk, and Natalie Taylor. Hello and good evening, lady and gentlemen. How you doing, Ron?
We are set to go down here, Kenny. Hey, the quarterbacks aren't the only players that are banged up. All 3 Las Vegas running backs were listed on this week's injury report. Now, I just spoke to head coach Jim Fossil, and he said Dede Dorsey is healthy enough. He'll get the start, and he's hoping that Marcel Shipp and Josh Scobie will see some playing time too. Fossil also told me, even though they're guaranteed a spot in next week's UFL championship game against the Florida Tuskers, he's going to play all of his starters. Finally, in regards to injured quarterback J.P. Lossman, Fossil said, hey, if I needed to, he could play tonight, but he wants to make sure he is healthy for next week's big game. New York is dealing with an injured quarterback as well, and to get the details, we go over to Natalie Taylor. Hey, Nat.
Hey, well, no question, Quinn Gray is going to get the start tonight. He says he's feeling strong. And I spent some time with some of the New York players yesterday, and there's a few players that have never went an entire season without winning a game, even since they were yay big. So pride is on the line for New York. And also some of the other players know that a strong showing tonight will help them seal a spot in the UFL next season. And who knows, Kenny Paul, some of the players may even get themselves a spot in the National Football League. Guys?
Well, that's got to be on their mind, certainly. And later on, Paul's going to talk throughout this game about some guys to look for that may be in the NFL. We know one thing to look for tonight. Like you say, it's a lot of pride, that inner pride. We'll see how much New York really has, and Vegas, how much they go full force in this game.
Don't mess with pride, man. Don't mess with pride.
We'll see how it works. We get ready to kick it off here when we come back live to Las Vegas. The Locos hosting the Sentinels here on HDNet. And back at Sam Boyd Stadium, Las Vegas, New York, in the regular season finale of the United Football League. And it will be one of the new players, Noah Herron, standing back to receive the kick for New York. And Gano kicks it off for Vegas, and we're underway. And Herron back deep. He'll let it go through the end zone, and New York will start at their own 20 with Quinn Gray back at the helm. And you see the numbers on Gray this season. No rushing touchdowns this year. No rushing touchdowns after 5 games for New York. It's hard to believe. And only a couple, 3 passes for touchdowns this year for New York. Crefonzo Thorpe is in. He is an excellent receiver. Shannon Woods is now the starting tailback in an offense that has been rebuilt throughout this season. First and 10 to the air, and just off the fingertips of Charles Davis, the tight end. As we take a look at the offense now, again, it's an offensive unit that's changed a lot. They actually can't even go too deep at the line positions because of injury. Steve Justice starting at left guard. He is also the backup center. Nate Bennett has been there for several times. Crefonzo Thorpe is the leading receiver in the UFL, 26 catches. He has been a standout this year. On second down, they'll go to the ground and go right up the middle, trying to establish some kind of running game, which they've had moderate success with this year. That is Shannon Woods, 5'11", 204 out of Texas Tech. And now we see Awasam, who has a sack this year. Kalaji's a veteran. Sapé now moving into the starting lineup. In the secondary, you see Stills and Lehman and Moore. They've been solid all year. Nick Turnbull is in the backfield, in the defensive backfield, along with Trey Young, who starts tonight for Tony Parrish, who is out with an injury. And on 3rd and 7, movement on the line. There is a whistle, and it appears that Vegas might have jumped. It looked like Awasam may have been the first guy to make contact.
You know, there's another one of those things that we talk about week after week and game after game is that drives a coach absolutely crazy. You got him at 3rd and 7, and then you jump off sides on the defense. Now you bring their whole playbook back into view again.
After the penalty, 3rd and 2.
And now it is 3rd and 2. So a little bit of a break, and believe me, I think New York will take it any way they can get it, getting any kind of luck on their side tonight, especially trying to get a good opening drive going. On 3rd and 2, another whistle before the snap.
For the snap, timeout Las Vegas. That's our first timeout of the half.
So 59 seconds into the game, Las Vegas takes a timeout.
Well, Fossil said all week long, we've got to work some things out. You're in the first quarter. You're not even a minute to play. You got a guy jumps outside, then you got to take a timeout before a play is run. So there is some confusion over there on the Las Vegas side.
And on that defensive front, Paul, Sape moves in tonight. Wendell Bryant, normally on the right side of the line at tackle, is out with an injury. So Sean Smith, we expect to see him as well coming in a backup role. So they do have a little different look on the front line than Vegas has had through their first 5 games. And now 3rd and 2 at the 28. And this has been a situation all year. Vegas, can they hold New York here? New York has always tried to capitalize in these short yard situations on 3rd down, and they have not had great luck throughout the season. Gray, good protection, throwing and overshooting his man, intended for the leading receiver in the league, Crefonzo Thorpe. It'll bring up 4th and 2, and they'll have to punt it away.
You know, when you get that kind of pass rush and that kind of pass rush from Las Vegas with only just 4 down linemen, I mean, you've got to come back up to your offensive line and say, look, you know, we're only just trying to throw a man-on-man pattern to the outside. You've got to give me some time.
Sammy Parker, very dangerous, stands back for the punt and is blocked by Vegas. Vegas making a big play early, and Vegas is trying to take it to the house, and they do. A block and a touchdown for Las Vegas. Ezra Butler with the TD. Another look at it. They were all over it. And so's Butler as he snags this one up and leaps for the end zone and the score.
Well, you talk about it's just perfect timing. And when you time a kick, is that Trufant number 36? It looked a little bit like him, but you know, when you time a punt, to block a punt, you always go like 2 yards in front of the punter. He did exactly that and got all of the ball.
And Graham Gano follows with the point after. 7-0 Las Vegas. Vegas making it happen on defense early on. They get the block and the touchdown, and it's 7-0 Locos.
MMA, but I am joined by a couple of UFC fighters, Wanderlei Silva and Todd Duffy. Wanderlei, let's start with you. What are your thoughts about American football?
Man, it's unbelievable. It's great. It's the first time I'm watching the football and live because I live in Brazil.
Right.
And the first time, but sure, it's not the last because it's amazing. It's a real exciting sport.
Very good. Now, Todd, you're a big guy. Did you used to play football?
Yeah, I played in high school a little bit. The energy out here is insane, though. I'm really impressed. Like, I've been to other football games, and this one, it's kind of hard to match this.
Guys, we appreciate the time. Enjoy the game. Kenny, back upstairs to you.
I'll bet they didn't know Wanderlei probably had never seen people get hit wearing helmets before. Ezra Butler scooped that up after Josh Scobie blocked the punt. That led to the 7, and Noah Herron will once again watch Graham Gano's kick go deep in the end zone, and for the second time, Quinn Gray goes on the attack from the 20-yard line.
I am just, if you don't mind, Kenny, I'm just going to apologize one time. We didn't know that Scobie was the guy to block the punt, and he is an offensive back playing the defensive end on the play. The problem we have here with Las Vegas' jerseys and numbers is they have silver numbers on top of white background. We can't tell who's on the field. Honestly, we can't from up in our position.
Woods, the lone setback, gets the pitch for New York, looks for room on the left side, and gets a couple before being forced out of bounds. Nick Turnbull moves up from the free safety spot to front, force him out, picks up 2. And, you know, it goes back to that 3rd and 2 again, Paul, and that's one of the things Ted Cottrell was talking about. You know, they've been in these situations, 3rd and short yardage, and consistently they have not been able to come up with that 2 or 3 yard gain to sustain a drive, and that time it burned them with the punt being blocked.
Exactly, and when you're looking at the offense now, we're seeing this New York team try to go wide on Vegas, and Vegas is too fast.
On 2nd and 7, again to the ground. There's not much room at all up the middle.
So, and they're too fast up the middle. Not only too fast wide, but they're too fast up the middle. What you have to do, though, and Quinn Gray has got to do. He tried on the very first play. Remember, he tried to throw that little short out to Davis, 87, the tight end. What you're trying to do is just get some kind of momentum going, get something that looks positive. So far, they haven't done anything except an offside penalty against Las Vegas that gave them 5 yards. That looked positive.
Well, here they are on a 3rd and 5 at their own 25. Gray to the air and a completion. Gray hits Cortez Hankton, who joined the team 3 weeks ago, and he picks up the first down. Hankton, former star out of Texas Southern, with his 6th catch, and Young and Laburn are there to bring him down.
And this is what we're talking about. When you just take a look, it's a short 4-yard, 5-yard route, and then the wide receiver, Hankton, picks up another 3 yards.
1st and 10 at the 29. Pitch again, Woods. Across the 40, up near the 45-yard line. Flag on the play as he has picked up the first down at the moment, with Young making the tackle.
And holding against New York. Here's a toss to the outside, and you just take a look at now that, you know, the one thing that just drives coaches crazy is penalties is number one. But you just started in a drive, and things look like they're picking up a little bit. You're down 7 points, and then you run a toss to the outside, and you get a holding penalty.
So they're back now, 1st and 20, back at their own 24. They will go up the middle and find maybe 2 yards there. Shannon Woods has been the guy that they've relied on since LeBrandon Tofield, who's not playing tonight. He's been injured for the last few weeks. And Lavelle Sapay makes the tackle. We have an injured player on the ground, and as they administer to Jasper Harvey, the starting center. Remember, Steve Justice, the left guard, is the backup to Harvey. They only go deep across that offensive front, Paul, in a couple of positions. Let's check in now with Ron on the sideline.
Thanks, Kenny. With the man who blocked the punt, Josh Scobie. Tell me how that play developed.
Just came off the line and kind of gave him a move like I was going to block him, and just kind of cut up underneath him, and he figured I was going to come and hold him up, and I didn't hold him up and went up underneath him. Just got by him.
Second block punt for Vegas this season. The first one was done by D.D. Dorsey. What's with you running backs blocking punts?
That's just what we do in the backfield. You know, we try to outdo each other in all kind of ways, and, you know, put the points together, and however they stack up, they stack up. But that's just the thing in the backfield. We want to make plays and help this team win.
Very good. Thanks for the time. All right, Kenny, Paul, back upstairs.
All right, thanks, Ron. They continue to look at Jasper Harvey. We're going to take a break. Las Vegas leading 7-0. Back here in Las Vegas, Jasper Harvey out of the game right now. Steve Justice moves over from guard to center, and part of the changes on that offensive front line here for New York as they face a 2nd and 18. And Gray drops back. Nice protection, swings it out of the backfield and through the hands of Noah Herron, incomplete.
You know, the thing about it is that you just hit on it, too, that you look at New York. Offensive linemen, they only have basically one more guy that they can use as a substitute, and that's someone that they just brought in, and his name is Brown, number 64. Other than that, they are out of linemen.
To show you how bad it's been for them, they signed Michael Teduzzi, and he is out with an injury, and he's yet to play for them. He was supposed to be a backup guard. And here it is on 3rd and long. They throw it complete to Thorpe. He slips and falls. And Grafonzo Thorpe bringing in his 27th reception of the season, the best in the league, but it's well short of the first down, as Wally Dada, one of the top tacklers in the league, is right there in the coverage.
And on that play, too, it just the data, they don't really have that many offensive linemen. So with Quinn Gray, he just didn't have enough time to think about throwing the ball deep. They had to pick up 22 yards.
Ryan Hogue now comes in to punt. The wide receiver is going to kick this away. Fielded at the 20, across the 20, 25, Sammy Parker to around the 27. Not a bad kick for the backup punter, as it's turned out. 7-0 Vegas the lead, and the ball when we come back. And back in Las Vegas, the Locos lead at 7-0. They scored on a blocked punt. And now they go on the attack for the first time with Tim Rattay, who's filling in for J.P. Lossman, an injury. He's sitting out this game. Rattay, a veteran, 9 years NFL experience, mostly with the San Francisco 49ers. He brings them to the line. He has D.D. Dorsey in the backfield. And he'll pitch to one of the league's top runners. He gets across the 30 to around the 32. And Dorsey, who has been strong all season long. We take a look at the Locos up front. This has been a very good offensive line, especially late in the season. And then defensively, offensively, Dorsey, of course, has put up the great numbers. Barthel, tremendous blocking. Parker, Bergen, and Thurman, along with Kirkus, one of the best receiving corps in the league, right up there with Florida on 2nd and 5. Rattay out of the shotgun. And a whistle before the play.
Well, you got a new quarterback in. You got different
start, 70 offense, 5 yards, 2nd down.
Well, they got 70 and 73. Capizzi 73 was offside, and so was Parkett. But you got a new quarterback in there, and you weren't sure who was going to happen, who was going to play. This is what you get.
Boschetti is new to the line. Sauvé has a sack. Simeon Rice has a sack a long time ago. Mortensen in the middle. His coach praises him, and Paul Pratt in the secondary is tied for the league lead in interceptions with 2. Rattay goes to the air, and he finds Adam Bergen, the tight end. He's going to come up short of the 1st down, but Bergen brings in his 16th catch of the year, one of the top receivers on this team.
Boy, when you have a tight end that is so proficient like Bergen is, as said, his 16th catch, he's averaging over 12 yards a catch. But look at this, up in the air, the ball was a little bit high. But Bergen's one of those guys, you put it up, he can go get it. The guy is 6'4".
Leon Williams making the tackle. He is also new to the linebacking core here, moving into the starting lineup for New York on 3rd and 3. Empty backfield for Rattay. And a whistle again, just as he was getting the snap away, and yet another flag. It looks like movement again.
False start, 70 offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
John Bible, the referee and crew, they've been busy already.
It's just, I would say if it was noise, it'd be a different story. But look at everybody else except up on the top side. Here he is, number 70. Watch him move. Everybody else is hearing it.
Moves him back 5, 3rd and 8. Again, empty backfield, Rattay. Under pressure, he's going to run. There's a flag, and he slides, and the ball is loose. Was it whistled dead? Yes, it was, and a flag back. And Maurice Fountain is in there making the tackle.
Offense,
you got holding.
Penalty, 3rd down.
You got holding on Frank Davis, and this is after the quarterback goes by. Number 53 is your guy right here. Now watch. You cannot wrestle the guy down to the ground like that. You just tried there, and you also can't clear the. There it goes. Telestrator. Fourth down. This is a little sloppy.
Yeah, 4th and 8 now for Las Vegas. Jim Fossil, a few words for his offensive line.
Well, this is what he didn't want to see.
Danny Bauer will punt it away. Taken by Bonner, who will go out around the 35. So here comes New York once again. And Vegas, you wondered about the mindset coming in. They know in 7 days they're playing on this same field against Florida, a team that's unbeaten.
But the thing about it is, you know that you can't go into a football game and just go through the motions. You've got to go full speed. And this is what's upsetting Fossil at this point.
Herron gets the carry, going left side, gets it up to around the 38.
The point I'm making, though, Kenny, is two motion penalties by the tackles on in 2 consecutive plays. This is just uncalled for. You've got to get your team ready to play in the championship game, and you do it by this game tonight.
Joe Porter and Brandon Moore in on that stop. And Moore, we talked about Lehman and Moore and Stills, what a strong group of linebackers Vegas has on 2nd and 7. It's the best field position for New York so far. Sanders in motion, throw over the middle, complete to him at the 45. Going to be short of the first down. As they hit Steve Sanders for a short gain, Lehman makes the tackle. Let's check in with Ron.
Paul, you said upset Jim Fossil. Well, that's the understatement of the year. He exploded on his offensive line as they were coming off the field, and he said one more false start penalty and you're out of the game. He's definitely making his points here and trying to get these guys to stay focused. Kenny, back upstairs.
All right, Ron, 3rd and 1 now for New York.
I like Fossil's guts. He's got 4 backup linemen. He can afford to take a guy out.
They'll go straight up the middle with Cecil Sapp, and it appears he's got the first down and then some more. Stills makes the tackle on Sapp, who has his 13th carry of the season. And Sapp's actually had the longest run of any running back for New York this year, 22 yards.
But, you know, you see Cecil Sapp, and he's hitting the hole, but this is the leg drive. You know, it's a continuous momentum that he has. You know, everybody says, you know, it's 2nd and 3rd. It's always the first. If you go into 2nd and 3rd, that means you quit. I don't think he quit.
Those legs keep churning, picking up the first down easily. 1st and 10 from midfield. Gray to the air and a completion. And once again, he goes to Hankton, the second catch of the night for Cortez Hankton.
You know, you just get the feeling what New York's doing. And with Quinn Gray, he's just short, and then they're going to just run a little play-action pass and get, like Sanders, down deep in the corner. Here it is. They're not taking a lot. What's happening is that Vegas is only giving him, you know, they're giving him the short stuff, and Gray says, hey, what? Okay, if you're going to give it to me, I'm going to take it.
Pick up 9, 2nd and 1. He'll swing it out, complete to Sanders inside the 35 to around the 33. That's Steve Sanders, his 11th catch of the season. Brandon Moore forcing him out.
How many times have we talked about this, Kenny, and you see it week in and week out? It's move the sticks. Just move the sticks. There's a little swing pass out to the outside to Sanders. It's just a nice throw. It's pitch and catch. It's almost, you know, it isn't, but it's almost like a handoff. It's not that far a throw. You get the ball in the Sanders' hand and let him pick up the 3 yards you need for the first down.
You pick that up and more. 1st and 10 at the 33. They'll stay on the ground. Noah Herron will go to the right side and get it down close to the 30. Teddy Lehman making the tackle. Let's check in with Natalie.
Yeah, we talked about in that last series, the starting center, Jasper Harvey, went down. Looks like a leg injury. He has been taken to the locker room, being worked on by the head athletic trainer.
All right, thanks, Natalie. And while he's out, Steve Justice has moved over from left guard to the center position. There you see number 74 as Gray comes up under center on 2nd and 7 at the 30. There in the long setback. Intercepted. The toss, the interception, Wally Donna. And another New York drive that looks so promising comes to an end. Dada making the pick.
If he throws back to his left, he's got a man wide open coming out of the backfield. But this time, Gray throws the ball into a crowd. There are 4 white shirts where he throws the ball, and Dada happens to be one of them. He's just staring down the receiver. Look at the white shirts downfield. I mean, you don't throw this ball here. 1, 2, 3 white shirts. Dada gets the ball.
Dada getting his first interception of the season. That stops that drive.
When you take a look at it, look over to the left. Going out of the Heron, that's the back going out of the backfield. He's wide open. Just look.
So 1st and 10 Vegas, and they'll stay on the ground going right up the middle. And it's Dede Dorsey who leads the team in yardage. Marcel Shipp, his mate in the backfield, is the leading rusher in terms of carries this year. And Brigham Harwell makes the tackle. 6 yards, 2nd and 4. Ball out to the 27. And you just want it on the New York sideline. That was another good drive and the same results. A turnover that stops it. Again, they'll go to Dorsey, trying to get over on the right side to get that first down. He is spun down just shy of it. And Joe Mortensen got it.
When we talked to Teddy Cottrell last night, I mean, he went through this a half a dozen times. He said, you know what? Yeah, we're 0-5, but we have made some great plays. We beat ourselves. We get the ball moving. We pick up 30 or 40 yards on 6 or 7 plays, and then all of a sudden we do something dumb. And we do something dumb. You know, when you looked at the pass on that last pass, all Gray had to do was throw that ball out to the left, and they pick up about 20 yards.
Rattay fumbles it, holds on to it, though, as he stumbled, taking a step back from center. And they'll lose a couple on what was a 3rd and 1.
Here goes Rattay. Look at it. The center stepped on him. That's why he lost the ball on the way out. But he does a smart thing. He lays on the ball. But you can see his shoulders kind of hunch up a little bit. He said, I know I'm going to get hit. They're not going to let me lay here without somebody whacking me.
So Danny Bauer comes in to kick it again, and Brian Bonner stands back at his 32.
Good kick.
Bauer hangs it high. Bonner takes it and goes down on the spot. Gets it at the 25. Lewis is there to bring him down right at the 25. 7-0 Vegas. Back here at Sam Boyd Stadium in Las Vegas, home team Locos lead 7-0. You see on the right of your screen Jim Fossil and some of the Locos. They get ready for the championship game next week, and Teddy Cottrell's team, New York Sentinels, hoping to get their first win of the season. They had a great drive going, stopped by a Wally Dada interception. Here they go once again, 1st and 10 from their own 25, and they'll try to get something on the ground and get a couple of yards going over on the right side. And that's Shannon Woods, who has stepped in now as the key running back. Teddy Lehman, the man who leads the UFL in tackles, in there on that one.
This is, you know, you're at a game, it's only 7-0, and you want to win your final game and get in the W column. I tell you what, just be patient, because they picked up 5 yards on that play. Read your defenses.
On 2nd down, Woods in the backfield. Gray rolling, pressure on, throwing. Flag is thrown as well, as that was incomplete over the head of Charles Davis.
Man, oh man, oh man. You got holding again. And this time it is again on New York. Now the question is,
holding 67 on the defense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's Bennett, and it just, you're trying to protect your quarterback as much as you possibly can. And that time, Quinn Gray did the right thing, throws out. And here, now you're allowed to rush 5, but they've got to be counted. They've got 4 down linemen, and they rush the linebacker. So, and then one other guy. So he had 6. Look, some of the people that we're supposed to see. Now, there's a holding penalty against New York, but Las Vegas rushed 6 guys, which they're not allowed to do.
2nd and 16. Gray throwing, and that one is tipped incomplete. Again, he was going for Thorpe, and Joe Porter was right there stride for stride. 2 penalties, 20 yards against New York already in this game.
Well, if we see Gray here, you're going to understand why he unloaded this ball in a hurry. Watch the shot he takes. I mean, he just gets labeled. And when he's throwing the ball, that was almost picked up. Watch Gray. Bam, bam. I mean, he gets hit twice. I admire your guts, son, but get out of there.
And remember, he's playing with that injured hip. His coach telling us yesterday he is far from 100%, but he's in there on 3rd and 16. Gray sets up, throws just a little too high, and almost picked off again, just through the hands of Nick Turnbull, who's already had 1 interception this season. And so it was a tough time for Quinn Gray and company, as once again going right over the middle and just a little too high for Ronnie Gent, the tight end.
Well, Ronnie Gent, I mean, you got to make a better effort than that. Ronnie Gent, number 86 on the play, just did not fight for the football.
Scott Blair to kick it away. Sammy Parker stands back at his 40. Blair had 1 blocked earlier. That led to the only score of the game. Parker moves over at the 39. Looks for some room. Good coverage. Not much there. And so Vegas will go back on the attack. Tim Rattay coming in. He's playing in place of J.P. Lossman, precautionary measure. If you're just joining us, they have him sitting out this game because he has a dislocated left pinky, his non-throwing hand, but with the championship game just 7 days away, playing it a little more close to the vest, and so the veteran Rattay will continue here for Vegas, we expect, throughout this night.
And Coach Fossil told us during the course of the week that he was hoping that he can play his starters maybe just half of the game and then get some experience for the other guys.
Rattay goes to the air and gets a completion, and he gets it out to Thurman, Andre Thurman, who makes his 14th catch of the season right in front of Paul Pratt, who's been one of the top defensive backs in the league this year.
Well, you know, you look at the receivers for Las Vegas, and Kirkus and Perry and Thurman and Parker, and also Bergen, who's a tight end. These guys average well over 12 yards a catch.
They make them count. They pick up 8 there, 2nd and 2. On the ground with Dorsey, right side. Looks like he's going to be a little short of that first down. And 20 seconds to go here in the first quarter. Clock winding down. Charlton Keith coming up to make that tackle. Keith moving in to play more because, again, the injuries as the first quarter is ticking to an end. 7-0 Las Vegas. They've done it with special teams.
They took a timeout. They're going to measure.
Seconds.
No, they didn't take a timeout.
They're going to measure.
Measurement here. This is the official timeout. They took a look at it. They said, well, let's bring it in, make sure what they have.
I was having a flashback last week. Remember when the Vegas called a timeout with 2 seconds to go in the third quarter? They'll measure on this one.
Was Fossil upset?
I think he was. I think he was. Of course, that worked out well for them. It turned out to be that crazy with 50 yards of penalties going against California, and turned out to be the winning drive for Las Vegas. It all started with that timeout at the end of the third quarter. In case you missed that, ask your friend if they set a DVR, got a replay of that. You'd want to watch that one again.
I really do. I don't think I've ever seen that in 50 years of football, watching 50 yards and penalties.
Now there's the end of the quarter, as it's going to be a 3rd and 1 after the measurement. Vegas getting on the board with the special teams. Scobie with the block. Ezra Butler taking it to the end zone. And the Locos are in front 7-0 over New York. Second quarter coming up when we come back to Vegas.
Welcome back to the UFL on HDNet.
We are back at Sam Boyd Stadium, where Vegas has a 7-0 lead, and I'm joined by their starting quarterback, J.P. Lossman. And J.P., we saw last week you hurt your pinky in the game against California. Tell us about the injury and how you're feeling.
Yeah, you know, I feel fine. You know, it was a tough decision to make, but as a staff and as a group and as myself, we just felt it was best because we got a big game next week just to hold out, not hurt any more than what it is, and come out and be sharp next week.
Next week, of course, you're taking on the Florida Tuskers in the UFL championship game. You've lost to them twice this year. How excited is this team to get another shot at them?
Yeah, it's exciting. You know, not too many chances you get 3 shots at somebody in one particular season. And, you know, our back's against a wall to that team. And it'll be a great story. We got a great story here lining up as far as next week goes, playing that team for the championship, see if we can overcome some of the mistakes that we've done in the past.
And you're definitely going to play.
Definitely going to play in that one.
All right, JP, thanks a lot. Paul, Kenny, back to you.
All right, thanks, Ron. Ball at the 47 of Vegas. And Tim Rattay in at quarterback, replacing Lossman tonight, and picking up the first down with that little keeper.
Well, they picked up the first down on the keeper, but they also had offsides against New York, so they got 5 yards on the deal.
1st and 10 now, New York territory at the 48. Dorsey is the setback. Rattay to throw again. Throwing complete inside the 30 and going to the top receiver on the team, David Kirkus. Kirkus, his 21st reception. David Pittman makes the tackle.
Boy, you got Kirkus outside one-on-one, and Rattay sees this perfectly. Watch where he throws the ball. He just drops the ball in. It's just a perfect throw. I mean, I don't know how you cover that. That's Pittman on the outside. Look at where this ball thrown. Over Pittman's arm, number 29. Can't get there. That's just perfect.
Rattay is perfect in this game. 3 for 3 so far on the ground with Dorsey. Dorsey trying to get outside. He does. Inside the 15-10. Inside the 5, D.D. Dorsey.
You know what I love? You watch D.D. Dorsey's feet, and you watch his eyes. He knows exactly where he's going. Watch the cuts he makes. The hole is perfect on the outside. D.D. Dorsey's going to go to the outside. Now watch him cut back in. Right here. He goes back to the inside. He does get hammered. That's okay. That's Bonner that hits him. But you talk about reading the defense, where they are and where he has to go. Perfect.
5 carries, 36 yards for Dorsey. 1st and goal. He remains in the backfield. Ball at the 4 of New York. Back to Dorsey. Left side. Not much there. Trying to go in behind the big fullback, E.J. Barthel. But Joe Mortensen fighting it off and making the tackle. And Teddy Cottrell could not rave enough about Joe Mortensen yesterday and the heart and how tough this kid's played all year.
He said, you know, when you look at him, you don't think, well, okay, Mortensen, he's not that really big a guy. He's 6'1", he's 250, but he says his heart is unbelievable. He said he's always at the right place. He has never missed a snap. He depends on him.
Dorsey stays in the backfield. They'll go to the air and get the touchdown. Tim Rattay throwing his first touchdown. This one to Norton. And Norton, the backup tight end, gets his first touchdown of the season. And that means 8 different receivers from Las Vegas have hauled in touchdown catches this year.
Well, Norton is not, you know, that open or wide open or really wide open. He was really wide open.
He was as open as the desert out here at night, wasn't he?
Norton slides out to the outside and nobody covers him.
Rattay perfect, 4 for 4. They march 60 yards easily, and Gano will try to tack on the extra point, and he does. Las Vegas goes up 14-0.
Well, you take a look at it, and it's all the players for New York are late getting on the field, so there's nobody to cover Norton on the outside. Take a look. Norton just slips out to the outside. Nobody there. Total confusion.
Nothing confusing for Las Vegas. They're in front comfortably here in the second quarter.
When you take a look at this, you're going to see Norton on the outside. He's going to come in, and there was a lot of confusion with New York. Look at Norton. He's a tight end. He's to the outside. Nobody covered him. Nobody got out there fast enough. That was Battle that didn't get there. He had all the time in the world, Rattay, to throw the ball. There was just, I mean, when we showed it to you, you saw the one going to commercial where New York, they had like 4 guys that weren't even on the field yet.
Gano tees it up. There's Norton, who made the touchdown reception and now is on the special teams. He getting ready to try to make a tackle, perhaps. Noah Herron stands back. He hasn't had a chance to return a kick yet. Again, it's high and deep off the foot of Gano. He will take this about halfway into the end zone and wisely take a knee. And New York, once again, starts at the 20.
You want to tell me why Gano is not in the National Football League?
Haven't we discussed this before?
Kick off for somebody. They don't ever return it.
Well, he did play at that little program called Florida State and won something called the Lou Groza Award. And, you know, we probably should mention this, Paul, for a few people that might be a little younger than us. Look it up, Google him, who the great Lou Groza, Lou the Toe, was. For some people have said, I heard you mention that Groza Award before. What does that mean? That's to the best kicker in all of college football. That's what Gano was. Here they go on 1st and 10, New York at their own 20. And they will go on the ground and pick up a little bit over on the left side that time. Shannon Woods once again with the carry. Woods now with 5 carries in this game.
The thing that impresses me about this Las Vegas defense is how quick they really are, because it was blocked up in the middle, And then Shannon Woods figured, oh, well, I'll bring it back to the outside. He got back outside. He picked up 5 yards, but that defense moved right with him.
And a former Detroit Lion, Teddy Lehman, who's had a terrific season, right there to bring him down. 2nd and 5. Woods remains in the backfield. 3 receivers to the right. They will stay on the ground again. Nice spin move by Woods, but he is dropped by Trey Young before he could get that first down.
Yeah, but old Teddy Lehman, you just mentioned a guy's name and he misses the tackle. You know, this is just a great spin move back into the inside. Watch this here. Boom, boom, and there's Lehman going down. He is so mad with himself. He was on the ground, pounding on the ground because I have, and I didn't make the move to make the tackle.
Well, here's another short yardage situation for New York. 3rd and 2. Noah Herron comes to the backfield. New York 2 for 5 on 3rd downs. They'll swing it out, and it was almost intercepted by Brian Toll at linebacker. And if he had gotten that, he had nothing standing between him and the goal line.
Boy, you talk about reading the quarterback's eyes and getting a jump on the ball. Brian Toll, number 51. Take a look at this. He is in position to make the interception. He knew it. He sees it. He reads it. And he's just a little bit late. He only got his left hand on the ball. Sanders said, whoa, where did that guy come from?
And once again, they'll have to punt it away. Sammy Parker standing back at his 25, and he goes down at the 22. Ryan Hogue on the coverage, and he levels him. So at least the special teams of New York, they're still fired up, even though Las Vegas leads 14-0.
Back inside Sam Boyd Stadium, where New York is trailing Las Vegas 14-0 in the 2nd quarter. Wanted to update you on a quick injury. The starting center is out for New York. Jasper Harvey injured his left knee, MCL sprain to be exact, and will not return the rest of the game. Kenny?
All right, thanks, Natalie. And the news just keeps getting worse for New York. Tim Rattay here on 1st down for Vegas. Throwing incomplete, intended for Andre Thurman. Pratt back in coverage. Paul Pratt, who's had an interesting year. He and Darian Williams, we talked about that. The 2 guys that went to the tryout camp, they not only made the team, but they became integral members of the starting defensive unit in that secondary for Teddy Cottrell.
They were picked out to tryout. Neil took a look at him. Teddy Cottrell says, wait a minute, look at him. We're going to play him. We started him right afterwards.
That's the first incomplete pass tonight for Tim Rattay. 4 for 5, 42 yards and a touchdown, as we have a timeout on the field.
That's a 30-second timeout.
Here we go. That's not alert. No, I said alert.
There's a mix-up in the signals.
What do you want? Spin by flash 40 or let's do this. Here we go. Go ahead, I'll give it to you. 11.
There's a couple old pros there. Fossil, of course.
Alert 35.
What a great offensive mind he is in Rattay. We talked about 9 seasons in the NFL, coming in with the 49ers, played some with the Bucks as well. Josh Scobie now comes in the backfield on 2nd and 9, and it is Scobie who will get the carry up the middle, sliding down at the 30. And Scobie, who blocked the punt that led to the first score. Now, he lost his footing a little bit as well there as he picks up about 8 straight ahead.
I don't know what happens to him here. He makes a nice move back to the inside. Now watch, when he gets in the open field, watch, he goes down on his own. Right here. He just drops down, and I don't know why. I mean, he was about 1.5 yards away from a first down, and now they're looking at him.
Scobie came into this game a little bumped and bruised like everyone in the backfield for Vegas. And on 3rd down, throwing to Thurman, first down. Midfield is Thurman. Thurman to the 45, around the 44-yard line. Rattay hooking up with Andre Thurman before Pittman could make the stop.
Well, did Ronnie ask Lossman if he was going to play next week? He may not have to, because Tim Rattay has only missed 1 pass. Take a look at Thurman now, back into the inside. That's what you call picking up a few extra yards. He gets hit here, but he's already down before the ball comes out.
23 on that, 66 yards passing for Rattay. Dorsey comes back in the backfield. Thurman goes in motion. Dorsey will get it left side, cuts back, spun around, goes down around the 41-yard line. And D.D. Dorsey, what a workhorse he has been this season, approaching now 40 carries on the year. Pratt and Battle team up to make the tackle.
Well, this is the second best team. And, you know, with the offensive weapons that Las Vegas has with Kirkus and Thurman on the outside, Bergen is the tight end, and then Shipp and Dorsey in the backfield, you know, they have a good, legitimate shot at Florida.
Dorsey again inside the 40 to around the 36 before being brought down.
The secret, though, in that ball game is going to be, it really is turnovers. And the ones that make the least mistakes are the ones that end as a team that ends up that wins. Here goes Dorsey again. Just take a look at this young man. You know, when I watch him run, he is not that big. He's tall-wise. He's 5'11". He weighs 210. I don't think he weighs 210. I think it's somewhere like 195. But he runs like 210.
You see the numbers on him on 3rd and 1. Rattay will keep it. Helmet is loose. It looks like he has picked up the first down. That's Jesse Boone, the center, losing his helmet, but more importantly, keeping his head and opening the hole to get the first down.
You had to use it, didn't you? You had to use it.
I just used it because the man who's been in charge of the officials doing a great job all year, Larry Upson's just joined us in the booth, and I wanted to give him an early Thanksgiving smile there. As you see, Boone too maybe said, we only have so many helmets, I want to make sure I get mine back. 1st and 10 at the 34. Rattay. And that one smacked away.
That was Seawright, number 92. It looked like that got his hands up.
Seawright, 6'6", 330 pounds. Played at North Carolina. He's had a nice season. He has a sack and a half coming into this game. He and Sauvé, especially on that front line for New York, they have played well throughout the season. 2nd and 10. They're spread out all over the place. Vegas likes to do this. Empty backfield. Rattay throwing complete to the 30. Dorsey out of the backfield. Williams there to bring him down. That is the 16th catch of the season for D.D. Dorsey, who ranks among the top 5 receivers for Vegas as well.
But don't you like where Rattay is putting this ball? Watch the throw that he makes to Dorsey. He makes the throw to his outside. See the ball outside? Now you really don't have a chance to make the play on the ball. And that's Williams, the linebacker, just couldn't get there.
It's 3rd and 6 down to the 30. Dorsey remains in the backfield. Good protection, throwing complete, first down and around the 15-yard line, and that is Kirkus. David Kirkus, the former All-American in Division II Grand Valley State, bringing in his 22nd catch of the season.
The nice thing about Rattay on this, he just overlooked the field. He looked to his outside. Dorsey wasn't open. So then he saw Kirkus coming across, man-on-man coverage on him, and just put the ball again out in front of the receiver where he's the only one that can catch it.
14 yards on that. Rattay 7 for 9, 84 yards total. 1st and 10 at the 16. That's Thurman moving, bottom of your screen. Rattay throwing incomplete. Trying to go for Thurman, and Joe Mortensen was there to break it up.
Joe Mortensen was watching the quarterback, and Rattay is the quarterback, and he's looking right at Thurman. Look at Rattay. He never took his eyes off of Thurman. So, who stands up? Mortensen, number 56, the linebacker, and he reads it perfectly.
2nd and 10 at the 16. On the ground, Dorsey. Maybe 2 inside the 15 to the 14. And there's Mortensen again making the tackle.
Well, we talked about with this New York team, and one of the strengths really is their linebacker crew too. And throughout this entire league, when you look at the defenses we're built, they were built with linebackers in mind, because when you're only allowed 4 defensive linemen and they have to have their hands on the ground, you've got to depend a lot on the linebackers.
2 on that, 3rd and 8 at the 14. Dorsey stays in the backfield.
Heads up football by Rattay. Rattay takes a look, and he looks to the outside. He has nowhere to throw the ball in the middle of the field. So Rattay does one, and you know, Jim Foster said, "Hey, that's okay. We'll take the field goal. Just get rid of the ball. Get it out of your hand."
And Graham Gano, who is 9 for 11 on the season, along of 53, will come in to attempt the field goal. Punter Danny Bauer is the holder. This one of 33. And it's there. So they cap off another scoring drive. Gano with the field goal, 17-0 Las Vegas.
Welcome back to Sam Boyd Stadium, where Las Vegas is up 17-0 over New York. Josh Scobie came into the game with a hip problem. Well, now he's got a groin injury as well. They stretched him out. They're calling it a strained groin. But Kenny, he is expected to return. Back upstairs to Kenny and Paul.
All right, thanks, Ron. Scobie, as you heard Ron say, Ship, who has more carries than anybody on the team, he's been a little sore. Dorsey, who's playing, he's been a little sore. Lossman's sitting out tonight as precautionary measure. That's the backfield for Vegas.
Well, and we saw Scobie go down. He was like 1.5 yards, 2 yards to the first down. There wasn't really anybody in front of him. He just took a knee.
Noah Herron stands back at his goal line. And Gano will again boom this one that way, goes deep in the end zone. Herron started out and now takes the knee. And you see the frustration for the 4th time tonight. Graham Gano has booted one into the end zone, and once again, New York will start at their own 20.
Well, you know, we're going to get around to it eventually about players that we think that may have a good chance of going into the National Football League right after the championship game next week. And I got to believe that Gano is one of them.
And Ingle Martin comes in at quarterback. Herron remains now in the backfield, but Martin in at quarterback now for New York. Gray on the sideline. They'll go to Herron, who will try to go up the middle and fight for about 5. The pile still moving. Gets about another yard when all is said and done. There's a look at Martin from Furman, who started out with the Florida Gators at one time. He came in with the Packers and then went to the Titans. Bounced around a little bit with the Chiefs in Denver and did start this season at one point when they made a change with Gray going out, then lost the starting job back to Gray. Quinn Gray watches from the sideline now for a pickup of 6, 2nd and 4. They pitch to Herron. And nowhere to go there. He loses a couple on the play, and there's that good linebacking core. Brandon Moore moving there to make the tackle for loss.
Well, and you look at it, and it's not making excuses for New York. They are 0-5 going into the game, but just take a look. Their offensive line is so banged up, and you just watch these guys. They are not getting downfield or getting to the point of attack. They really don't have a great shot. You saw Bennett, the right guard, try to pull out. They're just not getting there. They have offensive lines. The great ones in professional football, college football, are the ones that work together for a long period of time. These guys, some of these guys have only been together about 15 minutes.
And Jasper Harvey is out. He's gone for the game with an injury. Justice is filling in there, and there it is on 3rd and 4. Incomplete, but a flag.
What do you got? What do you got? Holding, number 98 on the defense. That's a 5-yard penalty. It's an automatic first down.
Josh Mollard guilty of that.
Defensive lineman holding. He is number 98. He is on the top side. Okay, I don't know where he was holding.
Well, New York's just glad that it was called. It's 1st and 10 now at the 31. Break for New York there. Heron backfield, spinning away. Nowhere to go, and he goes down. And that was Gabe Long who filled up the hole quickly.
This is another one that we were talking about. The defensive linemen are beating the offensive linemen to the backfield. Long, just take a look at him. He just takes a move. He goes right down the line of scrimmage. There's no block. That's Justice trying to block him. He is now the center. He was playing backup center. They're just not getting any leverage on these defensive linemen, and they're beating him to the backfield.
Lost 3 on that. 2nd and 13 at the 28. Martin to throw, gets a completion to Heron out of the backfield, and some positive yards picked up there by New York. Long makes the tackle.
I just think that Ingo Martin is standing back there thinking, do they have that many guys on defense? I only thought they had 11. But I seem to be getting hit on almost every play. Someone needs to block somebody.
They pick up 6, 3rd and 7 at the 34. Martin also might be saying, now, which one of you guys again is my center?
Help me.
Looking, throwing, and incomplete. Intended for Cortez Hankton.
I tell you, old Ingo Martin's going to have to introduce himself to these linemen when he gets in there at halftime. Just say, you know who I am? Oh, let me explain something to you. See, I'm number 3. I'm the guy we're supposed to protect here.
There's Wally Dada, who had an interception earlier. Sammy Parker stands back awaiting the punt. Player had one blocked earlier. That led to the first score in the game, a touchdown. Short, but Parker will scoop it up and pick up about 3. Little bit of a gamble. Nathan Williams is there to stop him. 17-0 Vegas leads. They have the ball. Welcome back to Las Vegas. Nice crowd here on a Friday night. And some young football players, no doubt with aspirations of playing in the pros someday, watching United Football League action. 2:16 to go here in the first half. Vegas leading 17-0. They have the ball. D.D. Dorsey gets about 5 as he goes over on the left side, and that should wind it down to the 2-minute warning. And Dorsey with 10 carries in this game, over 50 yards so far. We'll be back with more action here in Vegas. Back here in Las Vegas, Kenny Rice, Paul McGuire, Ron Kruk, Natalie Taylor on the sideline. Glad that you could be with us here on HDNet for the United Football League. It's been an enjoyable season. This is the regular season finale. Las Vegas up 17-0 on New York, 2nd and 5 from the Vegas 39. And Rattay back to pass, dumps it over the middle to D.D. Dorsey. And Dorsey gets the first down. And Dorsey with his 17th reception of the season. Brian Bonner making the tackle. And Dorsey has done it all over the place this year for Vegas. They continue with the hurry up. Rattay again. Go to Dorsey. He gets away from one man, but Save comes up from behind to bring him down. Picked up 2, 2nd and 8 at the 49. Vegas has a timeout left. Tate looking and will shoot that one over the head of the intended receiver there in Dorsey.
I tell you, Tim Rattay has done some pretty good things in this ball game, and you watch, 2 quick passes to Dorsey, and all of a sudden he just looks downfield and everybody's covered. We have plenty of time. There's 1:18. They only have 1 timeout, but they're moving the ball pretty well. Just take your time and don't do something stupid. He didn't. He threw the ball away.
3rd and 8. Rattay 9 for 14 and a touchdown pass tonight. And he is hammered. Ball is loose. That ball's alive. And Vegas, it appears they have gotten it back. Spicer putting the pressure on. The question, was it a forward pass?
Well, Tim Rattay is taking the ball. Well, you know, that's the old deal where you pull the arm back down.
That's a 30-second timeout.
His arm is going forward, but he tries to pull the ball back in.
Spicer leading the way, and Savay is right there.
There is no tuck rule in this league, so that is a fumble. That is a fumble. We have that shot. It's a great shot. You remember the old tuck rule that they had out in New England? Well, just take a look at this. This rule is basically why this rule is in there. This is actually a fumble.
Vegas able to recover it. So it is 4th down and 17, and Bauer will kick. And now they're going to challenge.
This play is under review.
Okay. I'm only going to say this one more time.
Because, you know, this is the first time we have dealt here on HDNet with the tuck rule.
Okay, here is, if the shot we had from the side, it looks like Rattay there is throwing the ball forward. Now, the replay that we have from Rattay from the side shows him try to tuck the ball back in. When you show him from the side, you'll see Tim Rattay try to pull the ball back in. That's where he tried to pull the ball back in, and then he gets hammered. Watch this. Watch the shot. It's perfect. You see it. Here it comes. He's tucking it back inside, and there is no tuck rule.
The ruling on the field stands. It was a fumble by the quarterback.
Ta-da. Thank you.
Live ball.
Live ball.
Kept alive by Vegas.
No,
good call, Paul. Good reading of the rule books.
Well, it's nice to have the officials.
It's always good to have Larry Upson with us. We're going to send you a big fruit basket for Christmas for sure, Larry. Thank you. Brian Bonner stands back awaiting the kick of Bauer. Hangs it up nicely. Bonner moves over to 19 and goes down about the 20. Push back. Good coverage by Vegas on the special teams. Trey Young among those leading the way. And Turnbull in there as well. Here comes Ingo Martin once again for his second offensive series. 48 seconds to go here in the first half. 17-0. Las Vegas leads New York. The Sentinels have 2 timeouts remaining.
Now, I know you haven't won a football game, but I wouldn't do anything really stupid down here. You've got 48 seconds. You do have 2 timeouts, but you're going up against a team that has not allowed you to do anything all evening.
Woods is in the backfield. And will go right side.
That's a very good, safe call. Run a little draw play. If it pops, now you got a chance to use your timeouts, but it didn't pop. He only picked up about 4 yards on the play.
Another tackle by Teddy Lehman. And again, on the ground. Up to about the 26-yard line, and that will probably do it. Lehman picks up yet another tackle to add to his stats. Clock winding down here in the first half.
Yeah, everybody wants to hurry up and get on the line of scrimmage, and Teddy Cottrell saying, wait. Let's get out of here while we can. We're down. We're only down 17. Let's go talk it over a little bit.
We're 0-5. We're being blanked. Let's take a break. Let's go to intermission. Let's see what happens in the locker room. 17-0. Vegas started it with their special teams, a block punt that was taken in by Ezra Butler for a touchdown, and then nice job tonight by Tim Rattay, who's filling in for the injured J.P. Lossman on a couple of scoring drives to make it 17-0 in favor of Las Vegas here at halftime in total control at Sam Boyd Stadium. Let's go to Natalie now, who's with Ted Cottrell. Natalie.
Thanks, Kenny. Coach, tell me about the decision you made to switch quarterbacks there in the second period.
Well, I thought we needed something to happen. Quentin seemed like he was struggling a little bit. Balls going behind the receivers and all. not throwing on time. So yeah, I made a choice to make a switch at that time.
So what message do you send your team here at the half?
Well, no, we just got to come back out, and hey, we still got another half of football to play. Let's go out here and just finish on a good note. Let's go out and play some ball.
Thank you very much for your time. Kenny?
All right, thanks, Natalie. And what else can he say? That's about it. Let's see what else we can do in the second half. The first half has belonged to Las Vegas. The Locomotives on their home field getting ready for the championship game next week. In charge, 17-0 over New York.
Welcome back to the UFL on HDNet.
And along the Vegas Strip, the lights are bright. This party atmosphere all the time here, which will increase as the championship game will be held 1 week from today in the UFL. Meanwhile, we're here at halftime at Sam Boyd Stadium. 17-0. Las Vegas is leading New York. Paul, we talked about this at the start. How would Vegas be? How much would they try to do? And New York trying to salvage something in a winless season?
Well, you look at Vegas, and they're just trying to be patient, and they're looking at things. They're not putting a whole lot of stuff out there. Tim Rattay, he was 9 straight, I think, at one time. He has done exactly what they want him to do. There's been 2 times in this ball game where we saw him throw the ball away, which he was supposed to do. He has the time. But he also has an offensive line. That's something New York does not have.
Well, New York, to make matters worse for them, again, they're not too deep at any position on the offensive line. And Jasper Harvey, their starting center, he went out of the game. We don't expect him to return. He has a knee injury, so they've already had to make some juggling moves there. And they've also made another move with Ingle Martin coming in to replace Quinn Gray at quarterback. And you have to wonder at halftime, what is left for Teddy Cottrell to actually say to these guys now?
Well, what he's trying to do is put together some semblance of an offensive line. If you looked at the last 2 series of downs, you just got a chance to see when the running back, as soon as he got his hands on the ball, bang, he was hit because the defensive linemen were in the backfield. And remember, I'm going to give you the rule again because it's important here. Defensive linemen have to be on the line of scrimmage with one hand on the ground. And they're just beating the offensive linemen to the play because most of these offensive linemen for New York have not played together.
And it's certainly shown there. Vegas, meanwhile, you wondered how they would be coming into this. We know Lossman's going to sit out this game as a precautionary measure just to kind of rest up. But, you know, they've been clicking. Again, Rattay is a veteran. He's been around for 9 NFL seasons, and his work is shown out there.
Yeah, and you could tell that here's Tim Rattay, who's only thrown 2 balls coming into this ball game. All right, it is the 6th ball game. But you know what's really nice about it? He paid attention in practice. This guy paid attention to what was going on. He worked hard, and he's in a position to help his football team.
Here's Jim Fossil now in the locker room.
Hey, receivers, get down here a minute. Hey, coach, on the you're in the right. Foul. We go 34. It's not no, it's going to bring him over. We just bring him over. Falcon right, bring him over. All right, now listen up, tight end. Listen up. Hey. Come here. All right, now we'll play a little bit of quick catch. Some of the plays is good. Get after him. Hey, all right, we're going to take our shots at him. 72 wide middle. They're playing pretty flat. We'll go after him down the middle. Double seam with a hand. Okay? Yeah, right on spear. Well, let's test him deep a little bit. All right, let's get after him. All right, yeah. Stay by me, huh? Yo. Stay by me. Hey, let's go. Bring it up. Bring it up.
All right, they got the quick meeting there. Jake Norton, by the way, the backup tight end with the touchdown reception from Rattay so far in this game.
Well, you hear what he said. He said, come here, tight ends, come in here. We're going to play a little quick catch. What they're going to do is they're going to little short outs with the tight ends, little pop shots, and then get that defense to pull up, and then he's going to go deep a couple times. He wants to see if he can get deep with these guys.
And again, they're trying to look at some things. We know that Jim Haslett and the Florida Tuskers are in town. Not sure how many are at the game tonight. They just got in last night after their victory over California. But you have a feeling they're certainly watching this, taping this, wanting to see just what might be left to take one more look. They've already played them twice during the season, but if they pick up anything at all.
I can tell you the one thing they're picking up is they're saying if J.P. Lossman cannot play for whatever reason or they can knock him out of the ball game, Rattay can come in and play. This guy's done a great job tonight.
When we come back, we'll take a look at the first half highlights. It's all Locos, 17-0. Halftime in Las Vegas, the Locomotives leading 17-0 over the New York Sentinels. The Sentinels coming in 0-5. It's that what can we do for ourselves kind of game, as well as, you know, pride and everything else. And the Locos wanting to keep on track as they go into play Florida next week for the championship. Paul, the special teams started off here.
Well, watch Scobie now. He's going to come in and block his better player. And Ezra Brown's going to pick it up and run for a touchdown. Watch where he is on the block. You see the 3 feet out in front. Perfect timing, perfect place to be.
Vegas goes up 7-0. And then Tim Rattay getting his first start, with J.P. Lossman sitting out, has the dislocated pinky on his non-throwing hand, a precautionary measure. They go to Jake Norton to cap off that. And Rattay so far 9 for 14, 94 yards and a touchdown pass. And J.P. Lossman said, yeah, I know, you've been there, you've done this before. Yeah, you see the stats in this game, it kind of stands out there for the Locos, 155 yards so far.
Well, if New York's going to have a chance, they got to run the football a little better.
And New York goes 20 yards. Those were big penalties. It seemed like every time New York had something going, they had a big penalty, a 10-yarder that set them back. Las Vegas in charge as we get ready for the second half, 17-0. We get ready to start the second half. Las Vegas leads 17-0 over New York. You're watching United Football League action on HDNet. And Las Vegas will receive the kick. We talked about all the changes. Taylor Rowan is the new kicker as well for New York. And he is kicking to Tab Perry. They've changed punters, they've changed kickers. They've tried to come up with offensive linemen and running backs. And, well, it has been a tough puzzle to put together. And here comes Perry for Vegas across the 20. And there he is forced out by Darian Williams. Let's check in now with Ron.
Okay, guys, spoke to Jim Fossil coming out of the locker room. He is very happy with the play of quarterback Tim Rattay. He expects him to play another few series, but then after that, expects number 3, Russ Machina, to come in and replace Rattay. Kenny, back to you.
All right, thanks, Ron. J.P. Lossman, I think you might be studying a little bit, too, how Rattay has responded here tonight. He's looked very impressive. 9 for 14 in those 94 yards.
And I'll tell you what, it's a great feeling to have a quarterback like Lossman just sitting there knowing I have some help if something would happen to me.
Play action, Rattay to the air and incomplete. Oh, off the hands of Sammy Parker, up and off the helmet of Paul Pratt. That's one of the top receivers going up against one of the top corners.
Folks, you can't put the ball in any better position than Rattay puts this one. Look at here. Look where this ball is. Parker should have caught the ball. It's all hands, and that's what they teach you to do, is catch the ball with your hands and not your body. Look at the ball out in front. Parker, he really didn't have to stop. The ball is right there.
2nd and 10. To the ground. And a couple of 3 yards there on the left side of the line.
Again, we're looking at a New York team that really, they're playing for pride. These guys, you know, we heard it a couple of times during the course of the week, and you hear people say, well, you know, these guys want to win one for the coach. I don't think so. I think they want to win. You know, they love the guy, Teddy Cottrell. That isn't what's on their mind. They want to win it for themselves.
Marcel Shipp had his first carry, and Dede Dorsey comes right back in the backfield. There's movement on the left side of the line for Vegas, it would appear. Looks like Brandon Braxton, number 75.
Didn't they do this?
Offense, 5 yards, 3rd down.
Didn't they do this in the first quarter? At the beginning, a couple of guys moving.
It was on the other side of the line.
Yeah, well,
they were moving on the right side. Now they're moving on the left side.
Well, we got Brandon Braxton in, and Brandon Braxton played at Oklahoma, and they're gonna try to get as many guys in this game as they possibly can. They be in Las Vegas.
He is the backup to Jason Capizzi. Here it is, 3rd and 8. Rattay throwing, tipped and almost intercepted. Williams almost had it. Leon Williams coming through. And good defense once again by the secondary of New York. They've had a couple of bright spots here in this first drive.
And just take a look at it. This is what's been happening to this football team this entire year. They get a chance to put themselves or get back into the ball game, and the ball's tipped up in the air. Two guys have a shot at it. Neither one of them come down with it.
That was intended for Tab Perry. Instead, Bauer now kicks away, and it is Darren Clark who is standing back around his 34. Nice kick, hangs it up. Clark has trouble with it. Flag goes down. He gets it, and he is hammered and brought down on the spot by Trey Young. But there is a flag. Hey, John Bible and crew, they've been as busy tonight as probably any crew this year, haven't they?
Yeah, and they get it right. They may be busy, but they're getting them right.
Illegal block in the back, number 41 on the return team. That's a 10-yard penalty from the dead ball spot, first down.
On Darian Williams. One more look at it.
Well, Darian Williams is going to get a block in the back. You'll see it right there, the push. I mean, when you can see the guy's name, you don't touch it. Don't touch the guy's name. Then not only do you make a block in the back, and then you stand around and watch your own player get killed.
So now New York will start this drive with Ingle Martin at quarterback. Came in late in the second quarter, replacing Quinn Gray as the QB on 1st and 10 at the 23. And they'll go on the ground to Shannon Woods, and the ball pops loose. Vegas has it. George Goss picks it up for Las Vegas.
You know, there are times when you must get down. Now, Shannon Woods is down. He's hurt. But he takes a
Noah Herron is the player they're looking at. And that was a shot on that. And George Goss, who is the backup defensive end, picked it up. Let's take another look at it.
The play is right at left tackle. And just take a look at the shot here. The face mask comes back, and that is Herron. But that his head is pulled back. But that's not a face mask. In fact, it's his own man.
Meanwhile, the ball loose. Goss pounces on it. And Las Vegas has it as they continue to work on Noah Herron. 17-0 here in the third quarter. We'll be back with more UFL on HDNet. We're back in Las Vegas. They continue to attend to Noah Herron, the running back for New York, injured on this last play. And as you see, the concern on both sidelines, something that's universal regardless of the level of football you play on, is when there's an injured player in this situation, and a great show of sportsmanship and concern for a comrade, with both teams gathering and kneeling around Herron, who is being attended to around the 25-yard line.
And this is really nothing to speculate. I mean, these guys, you know, they get out and they fight each other tooth and nail on a football field. And, you know, when something like this happens, they're together.
And there's Ted Cottrell on the left, Jim Fossil, the two respective head coaches.
Now, they brought the stretcher out, and everything is done for precaution.
The concern on Ted Cottrell's face, who has, from the start of this season, As all three of the head coaches, the other three head coaches, he's been very involved, very emotional man when you talk about his players and how he gets involved with his players.
They just picked this guy up.
He's one of the new. Heron just came in to this backfield because of injuries that have sidelined a couple of the other players, like LeBrandon Tofield, who was their leading rusher, who is sitting out this game with an injury. So Heron is new to the team, who backs up Shannon Woods now, who is also relatively new to this team. And the Las Vegas players looking on. J.P. Lossman, who is sitting out this game.
One of the things that you will see, though, is when they get done with Heron, they put so much precaution into it that they will tape him to that board where he can't move anything.
And the medical unit responding quickly here.
Boy, they were out on the field in a heartbeat.
Almost immediately. It was very impressive, their response and the precaution they're taking now. Again, working on Noah Heron, new to the team, reserve running back. And you know, Paul, as you've been in a situation as a broadcaster for many years and as a player, you know, all you can do is hope and pray and send good wishes. You can never tell in situations, and it's no point is trying to speculate. Again, they've taken all the precautions, and we'll hopefully get an update soon.
There's nothing to speculate on. You just wait and hope and pray and let them do the best job that they possibly can.
Here in Las Vegas, a break in the action. They're still attending to Noah Heron. We'll be back in just a moment. Noah Heron has been transported now in an ambulance. We'll check on his progress. He was taken off the field a few minutes ago, and while everyone was holding their breath and saying their prayers,
watch.
He gives everyone this.
Watch. God bless you. There it is.
The thumbs up.
And this place responded, and so did every one of these players.
And you heard a great ovation there for Noah Heron. And here's how it happened.
Well, you take a look at number 84, his own man, Chris Hopkins. He'll hold him up, and then Layburn comes in and nails him. This is where all of it happened. There still won't be any speculation, not by anybody in this crew. We'll wait and find out what they tell us later on, and you'll get it as soon as we do.
George Goss recovered the fumble, and it is 1st and 10 at the 21 of New York for Las Vegas. Back to the action, back on the ground, and they will go with Marcel Shipp for the second time in this game. And Shipp, who came in as the top rusher in terms of carries, his 68th on the season. Leon Williams making the stop after a gain of 9.
You know what always amazes me, old buddy, is that when something like this happens and there's been a delay for, 20 minutes or so, and all the players are on their knees praying, and then all of a sudden the ball snapped, and here we go again. And they don't think about it. They will not think about it.
Right back at it, right up the middle they go, inside the 10, 1st down. That is Shipp. Shipp, who had 2 touchdown runs against New York a couple of weeks ago in the victory against the Sentinels. He is 3 carries for 19 yards on the evening. 1st and goal at the 9. And again, we'll have the update as soon as we can on Noah Heron. And on 1st and goal at the 9. Staying on the ground. Staying with Shipp, who gets just a nudge inside the 5 before being brought down. And Leon Williams is there to make the tackle again. And Trey Battle helps out. Leon Williams, one of the new players who has moved into a starting linebacker role here with New York.
And we got one of the Las Vegas linemen limping off the field, and that is not a good sign for that team.
2nd and goal at the 4. On the ground for yet another time, and maybe a yard, trying to go over on the left side. And Mortensen leads the way there. And Ship, he's doing all of his work here in this series. That's his 4th carry for 20 yards. Vegas now approaching a 3rd and goal at the 4. Empty backfield this time for Rattay. Already has a touchdown pass on the evening.
5 wides.
Rattay throwing, touchdown, Las Vegas, Sammy Parker. Parker, his 3rd touchdown reception. And an impressive celebration as well.
Yeah, well, you got the practice. Here's Rattay to Parker. Just take a look at, there is man-to-man coverage on the outside. There's just no way that Battle, who's playing safety number 27, can make the play.
Parker, his team-leading 3rd touchdown reception. 6 plays, 21 yards after the fumble, recovered by Goss, and they take that turnover and turn it in to another touchdown. And Gano is trying to stay perfect on extra points. He does. 24-0, Las Vegas. Tim Rattay, 10 for 17, 97 yards, 2 touchdown passes. This one to Sammy Parker. Vegas spinning it all tonight.
Welcome back to the UFL on HDNet with the man who just gave Vegas a 24-0 lead, Sammy Parker. Describe how that play developed and what was the call?
We had a basic option route, and you know what I'm saying, both of them stayed inside, so you know what I'm saying, gave me the option to back out where nobody was, so I just took advantage of that, and the quarterback put it right on me. I couldn't drop it.
Sammy, I got to ask you, when you see another player go down like we saw on the New York sideline, what goes through your mind as a player?
I mean, you know what I'm saying, you never want that to happen like that to anybody, you know what I mean, whether it's your team, you know what I mean, things like that. So, you know what I'm saying, we just prayed for him, you know what I'm saying, as a team, you know what I mean, we had to bond with the other team, you know what I'm saying, even though we don't really like to, but we just had to, you know what I'm saying, just for that moment, because we hope he's all right.
Thanks for that, Sammy. We appreciate it. Kenny, Paul, back to you.
All right, Ron. Parker with 3 touchdown receptions on the season. He leads the Vegas team. Here is Gano. He is 4 for 4, putting it in the end zone. Let's see if he can make it. Yeah, 5 for 5. And it was Marlon Lucky standing back and watching it go out of bounds.
And every single guy on the kickoff team should buy this guy a soda. Because how much there's nothing better
at least a Laurel and Hardy handshake.
That's right. There's nothing better than watching that ball on the kickoff go out of that end zone.
Ingle Martin staying in at quarterback. Shannon Woods is in the backfield. Martin throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Hankton. Laybourne in on the coverage.
Well, when you have the time to throw the ball, which has not been that great tonight, and you throw the ball on target, and the only thing that's supposed to happen after that is the guy that you throw the ball to catches.
Instead, it's 2nd and 10.
Yeah, right.
Wood stays in the backfield. That's Sanders moving. Martin pressured, throwing, and that one is complete. Just shy of a first down as he hits Steve Sanders.
And they call that an incompleted pass.
Incomplete.
Now just take a look at, here's a throw by Ingle Martin. Sanders comes down, does not have control of the football. Now you're talking about the officiating, and it really is true. These guys, yeah, they've been on top of everything.
So Martin, 2 near misses in this drive. Now a 3rd and 10. Throwing. That is there, but it's going to be short of the first down. Cortez Hankton makes the catch in front of Marcus Hamilton.
I'm not trying to be a coach, but I got to tell you, you got to know where you are on the field. You got to know where the first down markers are. And you got Hankton that goes down, he goes 9 yards and catches the ball, or actually 8.5 yards. I mean, you've got to know where you are on the field. Your quarterback's got an arm, and he can throw it 10 yards.
Player kicks it, fair catch. Called for by Jamal Lewis. And so here comes Tim Rattay on the offense once again. And he's done a nice job. One thing it's shown as you look at the numbers there, including the 2 touchdown passes, of the teams that have depth at some of the linebacking positions, the receivers, the running backs, etc. in this league, nobody has the quarterbacking depth that Las Vegas has.
No, that is absolutely true. And again, we're going to see Michna. Supposedly, we're going to see Michna in the 4th period.
Ship stays in the backfield. That was incomplete, intended for Norton, and Joe Mortensen there with him. Norton, who has a touchdown reception on the night.
And Joe Mortensen, that was a nice coverage, nice job. But after the play, there's no reason to go pushing the tight end. I mean, this is dumb. I know you're frustrated. Everybody's mad because you haven't scored, you haven't won a game. But here's Mortensen, excellent coverage. Now let it go.
2nd and 10, under 10 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. On the ground, Dorsey. Dorsey picking up a couple on his 11th carry of the night.
The thing, you're looking at the defense now. Simeon Rice is in. He has not played much this evening, Simeon Rice. Basically, he's an outstanding pass rusher, but you're playing against a team now. Now he's in the game because they are going to probably have to throw the ball at 3rd and 9.
From their own 31. Tate steps up, tries to flip it out, incomplete.
And Simeon Rice almost got to Rattay, but he held the ball a long time. I mean, I understand that you have some confidence in your offensive line as a quarterback, but there's got to be that little clock in your head that says, hey, you know what? Let's get out of here. Get that thing out of here.
And doesn't it seem like it was about a year or 2 ago, when it was only about 7 weeks ago, we saw Simeon Rice make that sack against Florida in the very first game here on HDNet. Bonner will let that punt of Bauer bounce. Good roll, though, for Vegas. It's all Vegas way. Down to the 1-foot line. Looks like a Paul McGuire punt. Danny Bauer with a 68-yard punt and a little bit of an assist here from New York.
Well, assist from Bonner. Look, you'll see it. We're going to show you the close-up. What not to do as a punt return guy. First of all, you make the fair catch signal. And then what you do is you catch the football. Because if you don't, here's what usually happens. They get the roll. Look at Bonner. He's looking at the ball. He's looking at the people coming down. You know, if you're not going to catch it, not going to make a fair catch, you've got to catch this football. Because it ends up down on the 1-yard line.
About 21 yards later, there it is. Bonner last week fumbled a punt away in a tough loss to Florida. New York was very much in that game, unlike tonight. And now here's where they will start this series, backed up at their own 1. And Ingle Martin will just try to lean forward to pick up something.
And he fumbled the ball.
And the ball's fumbled. It's loose. It looks like Vegas has it. They do. Well, what else can happen? New York rolls craps once again. They fumble it away. Let's take another look on what was just a simple keeper, and there it is on the exchange. The exchange again between Justice and Martin. And remember, Justice is the fill-in center for Harvey, who's out with an injury now.
And you blame this on, I don't know on the exchange, but the quarterback, you've got to get the football. Just remember one thing, folks. So, little rule, going into the end zone, you only have to touch the line. Coming out of the end zone, the whole ball has to get outside the end zone, or it's a touchback. They'd have been better off with a touchback.
Well, here it is. At the one, they'll go straight up the middle. Touchdown, Marcel Shipp, his third of the season. Why waste time? They recover a fumble. 2 seconds later, it's 30-0.
And this just shows the superiority of the offensive line of Las Vegas. Just take a look. Look at where the defensive guys are. Nobody gets a hand on Marcel Shipp.
Shipp, all 3 of his rushing touchdowns against New York this season.
And that whole thing was brought about by Bonner not fielding the punt.
And Gano puts it through. It goes back to what Teddy Cottrell has been telling us since week 1. The little things. You don't field a punt. You give up 20 yards position. You fumble it at the 1. And Marcel Shipp and company take it right in to make it 31-0. But again, 17 points on turnovers tonight.
But again, my friend, we're not making excuses for New York. But, we sat down with Teddy Cottrell, and we said, okay, Coach, we showed him the boards that we use that have the people on it. And I said, okay, we're going to start with the offensive line. I started out, he goes, no, he's gone. He's on injured. He's on injured. We picked up 2 guys. They picked up a guy yesterday,
who's
an
injured?
Offensive lineman who's injured. They had to put him on injured before the ball game. I mean, it is no excuse that Teddy Cottrell will not make excuses for it. But I mean, you're running with about a half a club.
Marlon Lucky,
new guy,
probably in hopes that he might actually have a shot at returning a kick. Gano's put all 5 into the end zone. Ron, what's going on?
Kenny, injury update on left guard Frank Davis. He injured both his ankles. They were working on them both, but he is up and walking on the sidelines. It's actually the only bad news here on the Las Vegas sideline. Back upstairs.
And how about this? A return. Lucky across the 30 and the 35 up to around the 38-yard line. Marlon Lucky, who again is one of the new members of the backfield. And Gano finally puts one that was playable. Lucky taking it right about a yard deep and returning it for about 33 yards.
Don't you like what he does, though? It's straight up the field. He didn't vary more than the yard either way.
And Graham Gano staying right in there to assist in the tackle. That was a 39-yard return. And this is some of the best field position for New York tonight. Martin swings it out, complete. Sanders up to around the 45-yard line as we approach 8.5 minutes to go here in the 3rd quarter. Isaiah Trufant on the tackle. Martin 3 of 6, 20 yards now in this game. So he came in back in the 2nd quarter to replace Quinn Gray. Paul, we were talking about our spot boards that we use. If you looked at Vegas and at Florida at the start of the season compared to the other 2 teams, it's almost pristine. Looking at the rest of them, very few changes. They've both been blessed not to have a lot of injuries, but they also made their draft choices. They went with the veterans mostly, and they said this is how we're going to play it as Charles Ali gets the carry there, and that's how it's held up for them this year.
Yeah, and it isn't because they have, because you have younger guys and they're getting hurt. I mean, younger guys should be in better shape than the older guys on the other 2 teams. But I'll tell you, you talk about when you're unlucky, man, you start losing players. And especially with New York, they're losing players. Not only do they lose an offensive lineman, but they lost a bunch of running backs to go along with it.
Martin floats it down the sideline, batted away, incomplete. It was intended for Thorpe. Trufant in on coverage. Or rather, that's Smith. Jamel Smith coming in the lineup. Intended for him, it was knocked away.
I'll tell you, this is just an outstanding play downfield by Trufant. Look at this. He just turns at the last second and looks back and gets his arm in to knock the ball out. Look at the hustle. Actually, should have been caught.
Brian Hernandez steps back. The 7th punt of the night for New York. Hernandez calling fair catch, moves up and on a slide takes it at the 25. Nice hands there by Hernandez. And so Las Vegas comes back on the attack. And Tim Rattay staying right in there. Rattay, if you go in a bar and you want a free drink, here's the tip for those still watching us on HDNet.
It's only for the free drink?
Well, it could be. You go in and say, of all the San Francisco 49ers, who holds the record for most completions in a single game? What 49er quarterback? And you're going to get, what, Garcia and Montana and Young and maybe Brody thrown in?
All right, I'm going to guess.
Go ahead. And you guessed?
Tim Rattay.
Tim Rattay is the man.
It's hard, but it is hard to believe. I mean, this young man, he looks really good tonight. And I'll tell you what, Jim Fossil looking out there thinking, man, I got 2 quarterbacks and I still haven't seen the third yet.
Rattay in 40 NFL games threw for 31 touchdowns in 40 NFL games during his time between the 49ers and Buccaneers. Incomplete there. It was tipped. As we take another look.
Tim Rattay, I'll tell you, the one thing about defense.
Oh, that was Machete, who is 6'4", 310 out of UCLA, who is new to the team.
He just got here yesterday afternoon. They flew a lot of these guys. We talked about the offensive line is decimated. Now there's your defensive linemen. They're coming in now.
So you wonder if Buschetti actually knocked it down, or they just said, hey, who's new in the game, and he raised his hand. Here it is, 3rd and 9 at the 25. Good protection, throwing incomplete.
Well, that is the worst series of downs for Tim Rattay, but he did the smart thing on 3rd down and just threw it away. Boy, do I like that rule in the UFL where you're allowed to throw the ball away as long as you throw it back towards the line of scrimmage, but you can throw it from anywhere, in the pocket or out. You know, it just saves quarterbacks, and there aren't that many anywhere.
Bauer will kick. And Brian Bonner, remember, he did not field the last one. I bet he makes an attempt at this. He does at the 30, 40. To around the 48 before Bonner is brought down. Nice return this time by Brian Bonner.
Just read this perfectly, caught the ball, and then makes a very nice run.
19 yards on the return of a 54-yard punt. Martin still in at quarterback. Woods is the running back. Incomplete. Underthrows the tight end, Ronnie Gent, who has been one of the more reliable receivers this year, coming in here with 14 catches for the Sentinels.
Ingo Martin is really having a problem on the out moves. I mean, he really is. I mean, it's one of the tough passes to throw. You've got a guy going away from you to the boundary, and you've got to be on target because if you are a little bit short in the backside, that thing's picked off and gone.
That's our first timeout of a half. That's a 30-second timeout.
New York taking a timeout. Grifonzo Thorpe, the leading receiver in the UFL in terms of receptions. He has 27. He only has 1 so far in this game. And there you see the total yards. Vegas with 17 of their points on New York turnovers. That's the biggest stat of the night, the 3 turnovers here.
Well, and when Las Vegas defense came into the game, the first thing they said, okay, you got the leading receiver, Alfonso Thorpe, in the league, and then let's just take him away. And they just took him and double-teamed him and said, okay, if you're going to throw or run, you're going someplace else. And you really don't, you're not running because you have, most of your backfield's been injured, so those are all new people.
2nd and 10 at the 49. And miscommunications on that, and a flag is thrown as well.
Holding, 72 offense, 10-yard penalty, 2nd down.
That's the 3rd holding call against New York.
That's Mike Fladell, and here's another backup guy that has to play. Fladell is number 72, and you see him right now. That is holding. Well, I mean, you just can't pull the guy down.
2nd and 20, back to the 39 of New York. Martin under pressure, going down. He avoided one, but not Gabe Long.
This, I believe, was Joey Porter, number 20, who was a corner coming in off on the outside. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry. That's Trufant. It was the corner on the left-hand side. Again, I can't see the numbers, but that was Trufant on the outside. That was a corner blitz, declared corner blitz.
And then the sack made. 3rd and 28. Martin unloading down the sideline, and is it picked off? Yes, Dada stays in bounds, his 2nd interception of this game. The catch was there where the feet in bounds for Dada.
Take a look at Wally Dada, number 24, go up in the air to take this ball away. Now the question is, does he come down with both feet in bounds, and does he have control of the ball when he intercepts it? Now we know he has control of the ball. Now we're going to try to have a chance to see his feet. He's got control of the football. He's up in the air. Right foot's down. Left foot, we don't see it. But the official was right there. And there's no red flag on the field, so we give him the benefit of the doubt.
2nd interception for Dada in this game. Picking it away from Hankton, the intended receiver. And Dorsey will carry for the 13th time in the game. Harwell there to make the tackle. And that is the 4th turnover for New York. The other 3 have led to Las Vegas scores. And Rush Mishna comes in for the first time. Mitch down of Western Illinois. Spent time in the Arena Football League and with Winnipeg, the Blue Bombers of the Canadian Football League. Here it is, 2nd and 10 at the 41. Left-hander sets up, fires, and drills it right on the numbers. That was a nice pass. As he goes to John Madsen.
Well, softball. I love it. Throw the old lefty in there. Here comes the lefty. Now, you know, Madsen makes his catch, but you know, really, it comes differently to you. You know, people have talked about it. When you're right, you know, you're always catching from a right-handed quarterback. The ball is spinning one way. All of a sudden, you bring in a left-handed quarterback. These guys have probably had not seen all year. Nice throw.
Mitchna getting his first completion. Here it is, 3rd and 4. And again, throwing incomplete.
Well, 1 out of 2 ain't bad.
That's 50% for the moment.
That's right.
that's one math we can do.
I'm glad you laid it for the moment.
For the moment. If it gets more than that, Paul, if it gets it in 4 or 5 passes, we have to go to the computer.
Take your shoes off.
4th down, and they will punt. And Darren Clark stands back at his own 10 for New York. Bauer has had a couple of nice ones tonight, including the one for 68 where he got that roll. And Clark will let this one bounce into the end zone, and New York will start at the 20. So Ingle Martin comes back out. And Grifonzo Thorpe. Again, we talked about only one reception this game. That brings him to 27. As you see, he had 26 coming in, the leading receiver in terms of catches. And you talk about his NFL potential, perhaps, Paul.
Yeah, I really like this guy. If he had some other people to go with him and also a quarterback that can throw it, you got to understand something. He's playing wide receiver, leading the league in catches, and the quarterbacks have been a little bit shaky throughout this entire year. Obviously, they had not won a game. So when you have a guy like that, obviously, I think the NFL says, well, wait a minute. If this guy can do this well with a team that doesn't play very well, he's got to be able to help us, especially someplace that needs a receiver now.
Tyrone Gross was in on that for his first carry, lost 3. Martin steps back, throws it over the middle, incomplete. That was just gunning it straight ahead for Chris Hopkins, the tight end. Ronnie Palmer, the backup linebacker, in on the coverage. You got to look there at Palmer, who played at the University of Arizona.
You know, we've seen every team, and you think about the National Football League, and after the championship game next week, these guys are eligible to go to the National Football League. You thought about how many? I mean, I'm not talking about all the, it's 4 teams, but about how many?
We were talking about this earlier. And Martin throws it out, and it was knocked away by Marcus Hamilton, who's actually filling in for the injured Brandon Sumrall, and he makes the play.
Yeah, well, that play was just a little bit late getting there. And there's another offensive lineman down on the ground. That's Orrin Thompson, who is the right tackle. They had to help him up. They don't have any more offensive linemen to use. They really don't.
They may be sending numbers up to us soon as Brian Hernandez steps back. And player Hernandez at the 42, midfield, 40. He could be gone. Player, the only one there to stop him, gets away, slows him down enough. He's caught from behind. Caught from behind by the tight end, Ronnie Gent, who saves the touchdown, but Player did his part by holding him up a bit, but what a return for Brian Hernandez.
Watch what Player does. This is what a punter needs to do. He's got to force this guy to the outside. Watch Player stay there, stay there, stay there, and now forces him to cut back in to his players and saves the touchdown for the moment.
So a nice play by the punter. And Jen helps him out, and a nice return of 42 yards.
Outstanding play by the punter.
Yes.
Marvelous play. Terrific play.
Those punters are tough. Some have even been known to play linebacker as well. They'll keep it on the ground and go touchdown, D.D. Dorsey. Dorsey caps it off.
He'll show you some speed right about now. Here's the speed. You know, everybody else, you notice the guys in the black shirts slow down? This, you know, they took a fumble. One play, scored a touchdown. They ran a punt return back. One play, score a touchdown.
Third rushing touchdown for Dorsey. He has a catch as well for a TD this season. And Gano puts it through, and it's 38-0 Las Vegas. Brian Hernandez, great punt return. Set up this TD by Dorsey, 38-0. Well, you know, it's sort of like the date that you hope for, and it'll work out. And New York came in here hoping, being 0-5, that maybe things would go well. They could stay in this game and see what happened in the second half. Well, it hasn't worked out that way.
No, and there was nothing that they showed Las Vegas or put up against them offensively that they could do consistently.
They said they had a headache and left early in this one, but we go on as Lucky will take it and take a knee. And let's see, what are we up to? Is that 7 now that he's put in the end zone tonight? Graham Gano, you talked about NFL potential as Martin comes back on the field for the Sentinel. I wonder how many guys are looking at Graham Gano here with that big leg that he has, including a 53-yard long field goal this season.
You know, it's a chance for him to get a lot of experience here in the UFL, and this young man is very impressive. You know, we've seen teams in the National Football League that have 2 kickers on their team, one to kick off and one to kick field goals. Well, this guy can do both of those things, and he saves you a guy.
Completion, Cortez Hankton, and he gets close to the first down. Hankton has been the busiest receiver tonight. That is his 4th catch. 4 catches, 38 yards for, again, a relatively new player. This is his 3rd game with New York. Did not start the season with them. And you can look all the way down the list. They've got 3 running backs, 2 receivers that did not start the season that are in this game tonight.
That happens in the turnovers in this game. You know, Kenny, when you're a bad football team, and they're bad, I'm sorry, but they're bad. They're going to be 0-6. But when you're a bad football team and you make those kinds of mistakes in a ball game, there's just no way for you to recover. You don't have the personnel to recover. And you know, Teddy Cottrell knows that. He said, you know, we tried to build something and get these guys to understand what our system was. And every time he got enough guys to understand what his system was, he'd lose it.
Martin over the middle to Hankton.
You know, I told you about this game, about a game, you know, where you're looking at scouts. Now, here's the thing, Ingle Martin throwing this ball. Look at Hankton. He's open, and he knows he's going to get hammered. He catches the ball, and 2 guys whack him, and he knows he's going to get whacked, but he holds on to the football. This is what people are looking at, the scouts are looking at.
Turnbull delivering the hit, Turnbull and Laburn there in the coverage. And that was a 22-yard pass, one of the best offensive plays tonight for New York. 1st and 10 down to the 46 of Vegas. On the ground to Sapp. And Cecil Sapp will put the muscle down and get a couple of yards before Ronnie Palmer, 52, makes the tackle.
You know, this drive is positive, and this is what this team needs. They need some positive things to take into next year. That seems like it's going to be a long time to come, but you need some positive things, and you got to believe in what's going on and what the system is. They came into this game, they did believe. They really thought they had a chance of beating Las Vegas in this game because Vegas is going to the championship game. They were probably thinking about next week. Well, obviously, Vegas didn't think about next week. Not yet.
And that is the end of the 3rd quarter as Steve Sanders makes the catch, and something positive for New York as they go into the final 15 minutes. This is a game, though, that has been all locomotives. They lead it 38-0. But, you know, we're going to tell you some of the players to look for that may be going to the NFL. That and the 4th quarter when we come back.
This telecast is authorized by the United Football League. Any rebroadcast or other use of the pictures, descriptions, and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the UFL is prohibited.
Las Vegas has hit the jackpot tonight, 38-0, and I'm joined by their quarterback, Tim Rattay. Tim filling in for J.P. Lossman tonight. How'd it feel to get some playing time?
It felt good, you know, a little rusty. But it was good to be out there with the guys and play. And the defense is playing great tonight, run the ball. So it was good to get out there, definitely.
Your head coach, Jim Fossil, has worked with some of the best quarterbacks in the sport. John Elway, Phil Simms, the list goes on and on. What's it like to play for him?
No, it's good because every coach has different stuff. And like you say, he's been around a lot of great quarterbacks, and he's done it for a long time. So you always can learn something new from each guy. And it's been fun this last 3 or 4 months, just picking his brain and kind of learning what he does and how he feels about it.
Tim, thanks for the time.
Yeah.
Okay, Kenny, Paul.
Thanks, Ron. They keep the drive going here. Hankton hauling in another pass for Martin.
If he said, did he say he's a little rusty? Wait, when they oil him up, I mean, after what he did tonight, I didn't think he was rusty. Did you?
No, you remember Rattay when he was at Louisiana Tech and he was breaking all of Bradshaw's records down there. Was a Heisman Trophy mention in the top 10 before drafted by the 49ers. You know, I mean, and he's not that old.
No, let's oil him up and let him go next week.
Let him go next week.
Man.
Well, the positive side here for New York is they actually have a drive going, and they've kept it going, and it's 2nd and 2. And Martin pumps, looks, he's throwing for the end zone, incomplete. Going for the man that has been the key guy for him throughout this drive, Cortez Hankton, double covered. And another look.
A little more than double covered. Cortez Hankton is number 81. Look at the guys that are going to be down there with him. That ball is thrown in the perfect spot. It really is. I mean, I'm going to tell you right now, Ingle Martin just threw the ball in the only place that ball could have been caught.
3rd and 2 at the 26. New York 2 of 11 on 3rd downs. Hogue comes back in, goes to the slot, top of your screen. Martin floats it down the sideline. It's caught by Sanders. What a catch by Sanders, down to the 1. Nice play. Now there's a guy still fired up. You're down 38-0. You stay right with him, and that was a nifty catch here by Steve Sanders.
Look what Sanders does. Not only does he catch the ball, but he's got awareness to try to get the ball to the, in the end zone.
Takes it away from Trufant. Goes down to the 1, almost there.
I'll tell you what's good officiating. Watch this. The ball, he tries to stretch it to the goal line, but his knee is down. So what the official sees, he sees where the ball is, where his knee is, and he put it right where it's supposed to on the 1-yard line.
And they'll stay on the ground to Charles Ali, who will take it in for the New York score. Ali with the first rushing touchdown of the season for New York.
And it took him 5 games and over 3 quarters to do it, and that's a victory.
It's the little things.
Okay.
The minute things at this stage, pal. And Taylor Rowan will attempt the point after. Wow. Half full, half empty. New York has scored 38-7. New York just completing a impressive scoring drive. It's one of their best scoring drives of the year, actually. It comes in a 38-7 game, but nonetheless, you look at the play of Hankton making some nice catches, real nice catch by Steve Sanders there near the end, and it's good to see him still playing hard, at least a few.
And it really is hard to believe when you're talking about it. There's nothing funny about it. And it took almost 6 games to score a rushing touchdown.
They had used most of the guys who are coming out of the backfield catching touchdown passes, like Tofield, who's out of this game with an injury, was their top rusher. Tab Perry steps back, and Taylor Rowan will kick it away. Of course, Las Vegas, they'll be playing here on Friday afternoon next week in the inaugural United Football League Championship game against the Florida Tuskers as Perry gets across the 20 and brought down to 25. They're going to be playing the Florida Tuskers. Vegas has lost to them twice this season. We were talking earlier, Paul, about some of the players who may be going to the NFL. I'm sure most of you football fans are aware of the story surfacing that Jim Haslett was a contender, a candidate to be the head coach of the Buffalo Bills, where he was an all-pro linebacker. We caught up with Haslett and talked to him about the possibility of going back to the NFL with the Bills.
You know, I don't know that. You know, that's I'm just worried about this game. You know, I try to take care of business week to week, and I can't really concern myself with that. Things change fast in this world, in this league. So, you know, we'll see what happens. I actually enjoying myself. I really did have fun this year with these guys, and we'll just see what happens.
I got a feeling, if you know, he is one of the top contenders in the job, and again, was a great player for the Buffalo Bills. He's never done anything to abuse that situation up in Buffalo. But I think if he went back to Buffalo, I think one of the priorities would be, can I take my quarterback that I have now with me back to Buffalo?
Good point there. You may want to add another player or two. Michna completed that one to Barthel and gives the handoff now to Barthel, who'll go over the middle and get the first down. E.J. Barthel, who's done a great job as the blocking back this year. That is just his 5th carry of the season. Figure running back coach Ampley likes a guy like that. He'll throw those blocks and open the holes for Shipp and Dorsey and Scobie.
This is a nice time for him to get a little love, because, I mean, how many times you get a chance to carry, you said, to carry a ball in a ball game? But he's 6'1", 240 pounds from Massachusetts. He's a big load.
1st and 10 at the 37. Michna to the air again, and that is complete. Tab Perry making the catch.
And you sit here and you wonder, okay, Las Vegas are up 38-7. Why are you throwing the football? I'll tell you the reason they're throwing the football, because it's open. Take a look to the outside. When you can throw and you have that kind of coverage on the outside, you throw it out there. That's Pittman, number 29, was covering, but he was way off the receiver. Throw it.
Second and 3 at the 44. Michna on the ground. Barthel again. Right side, not much room.
You know, and you've seen enough games as you sit there and you watch it and you wonder sometimes, you know, why are they doing that? Well, they're doing it because this is what their game is. Their game plan is. They've got short passes and they've got some runs. Their passes set up the runs. Look at the receivers that Vegas has. I mean, they've got 5 receivers that are in the, top 6 or 7. These guys can, that's what they do. They catch the football. Their quarterbacks throw.
They've had 8 different receivers catch touchdown passes this season. Think of that compared to some of the other teams around the league. Throw over the middle. Michna is on target once again, as he finds Casey Flair, a popular player here. He walked on to the UNLV team. Not only did he walk on to that team, he then played and caught passes in 35 straight games. Became an incredibly popular player. He does a blog for one of the local newspapers updating him on the UFL. And there Flair comes in and makes the catch for the first down out to midfield. And Barthel will go left side, and watch him move things down to the 45.
Now, this is a guy that shows you how to move a pile. Barthel is, again, 240, and he gets a little lean. He's not running straight into the hole. He's running at an angle. Wow, another injury. That's Harwell, defensive tackle.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys on this New York team that have been hurt this year, I guarantee you, I don't know of any team in the National Football League that had more injuries than this team did.
They have had seriously close to about 40% of their roster with some type of injury this year. It's made them miss some games or half a game or so. Barthel again. Barthel perhaps watched that game last night with Florida, where Pennick, who is their hard-working, big blocking fullback, they finally gave him the ball and let him take one in for a touchdown. Maybe he's thinking along those lines.
Yeah, well, they got to get him a little bit closer.
Get me a little closer.
I would think so.
At the rate they're going, let's check in Natalie on the sideline. Nat?
Kenny, speaking of New York injuries, starting right tackle Orrin Thompson's actually getting his left wrist x-rayed as we speak. They think that he possibly sprained it. Not sure if he's going to be coming back or not. So just add it to the list of injuries for the New York team.
Michna floating it down the sideline, complete. What a pass, what a catch. Tab Perry hauls it in.
You know, you see guys with the perfect throw, and here you want to talk about a guy that's rusty. This guy's really got to be rusty, but watch where he puts the ball to Perry. Way on the outside shoulder. There's just no chance for the defensive back, who is Pratt, Paul Pratt, 37, to make a play on the ball. This ball was perfectly thrown. I've said that a dozen times now about perfect passes, but these guys know how to get it out.
Some of these teams maybe said, I wish we had Michna as our backup quarterback. 24 yards on that, 1st and 10 down to the 14. Barthel stopped there. Michna now 5 for 6, 51 yards.
And I'll tell you what, and it really makes the guys on the sideline really feel good. The one thing that we have heard so far tonight, the only guy that we have seen on Vegas's team, and both ankles, is Frank Davis, number 53, the left guard. Now that's a big loss to this football team, but they think it just sprained both ankles. He is the only one that they mentioned, but they've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 backup defensive or offensive linemen, so they're still in pretty good shape.
Empty backfield for Michna. Good protection, throwing complete over the middle. And to Brian Hernandez, who makes the catch. We saw Hernandez, that great 42-yard punt return earlier. Mortensen there to make the tackle.
I spoke a little bit too soon. There's an offensive lineman down.
Brandon Braxton, who backs up Capizzi.
Yeah, that's a backup. So now that's 2 offensive linemen that limped off for Las Vegas.
You see Dorsey, 27, coming back in. Barthel also staying in the backfield. It's 3rd and 7 at the 11. Vegas 7 for 15 on 3rd downs. Michna throwing, incomplete. Over the middle and off the hands of the intended receiver, Hernandez. So 4th and 7 at the 11, and Gano comes in to attempt a 28-yard field goal.
And when you're looking at it, Las Vegas, they're not trying to pour it on to this football team. This is what they do. They're giving everybody a look. They're trying to get as many people in the ball game as possible. One of the problems happened is that the 2 guys on the left-hand side of their line, their starting left guard, Frank Davis, is hurt. We don't know how bad. It's at both ankles. And then Braxton limps off the field. He was the backup left tackle.
Hey, offense, 5-yard penalty, 4th down.
It's the only thing they've done wrong, isn't it?
Yeah, I think that's it. Makes it a 33-yard field goal attempt. Maybe Gano just wanted a little more of a challenge. He's 10 for 12 on the season. He's put 1 through tonight. He has a 53-yarder is his long. And here it is, 33 yards away. Right down the middle. Michna, the 3rd-string quarterback, leads them on a scoring drive, 41-7 Vegas. And the neon that can only be Las Vegas, and not too far away from the famous Strip, Sam Boyd Stadium, the site of the inaugural UFL championship game next Friday. It's the home to the Locomotives as well. They'll be taking on Florida for that. And we have some positive news about Noah Herron. I'll tell you more about that. The injured running back for New York who was taken off the field on a stretcher. Let's do that right after we get this play going here as Marlon Lucky stands back to take it. Instead, it'll be the up back carrying for New York, and that is Tyrone Gross with it. Here's the official release from the league. And positive signs here. There's relief that Noah is in stable condition and receiving appropriate medical treatment on arrival to the hospital. He had movement in his extremities. We considered this a positive sign. That from Commissioner Michael Hogue. So that was great to hear that Iran, who was injured back in the first half of this game, and some positive news there, Paul. And you know, that's just the best thing you can hear.
You betcha. Oh, man.
Over the middle, complete to Hogue. Ryan Hogue hauling in that pass from Martin. And Ingo Martin is on a little bit of a roll here, isn't he? Leading that last scoring drive and firing this one over the middle. 24 yards on that pass.
Hogue, this is a perfect throw. And then Hogue, after he makes the catch, gets up and he throws the ball over the head linesman about 40 yards, which is absolutely another perfect throw. So Hogue makes a catch. Hey, throw the ball to me, man. I can catch it.
Out to the 47. Martin under pressure and unloads it. that was smart.
All right, this is the classic example of it, and what the officiating and everyone in this league, UFL, want to happen. Watch Martin here. Ingo Martin gets out. He's got a chance of being sacked. He just throws the ball left-handed, but he's got to get it back to the line of scrimmage, and he can throw it at any time, which he did. That saves your quarterbacks.
Martin obviously studied up on the rules and did not hesitate when it came about. That has been an exceptional rule, I think, this year. Martin stands back, nice protection there, and the receiver wasn't quite ready, going for Tyrone Gross on that pass.
Well, I'll tell you what, there were a couple of linemen that were ready to just take out Ingo Martin. I mean, again, that's that old clock in your head that tells you, I can only stand here so long. Even though they're sending 4, you got to get that thing out.
Martin 9 for 20, 117 yards. Coming in back in the first half to replace Quinn Gray. As you see, Gray, who has been the starter most of this season for New York, and what is
timeout New York. That's their second timeout of the half.
As they take their second timeout. New York, well, a little bit of pride showing here, trying to make it exciting all the way to the end. Back in Las Vegas, yeah, the score indicates what has happened tonight. Going back to a block punt early on that led to the first score. It's been all Vegas as New York is about to go winless. There's the Casey Flair fan club, some of them there. We talked about the former walk-on at UNLV who became a star for the Runnin' Rebs and then is playing here in this inaugural season for the Locomotives in the UFL. But New York, Ingo Martin's got a little bit of a hot hand here going, and he fires complete once again. Martin and wrestled down. The play was blown dead long after that, but that is Cottrell, TJ Cottrell making that catch. I know some guy on the sideline that's happy to see that.
How about his daddy?
Yeah, that's coach.
That's Coach Cottrell's son.
Well, I was assuming that he was happy.
Yeah, well, he better be glad. He better hold on that ball. His dad would whack him.
Second catch of the season for Cottrell. It's 4th and 4 at the 47. Hogue in motion, top of your screen. Martin throwing, first down to the 40-yard line, just inside the 39, and that's Smith making the catch in front of Nick Turnbull. Jamel Smith, former star at Mississippi State, hauling that in.
Well, Jamel Smith just shows you the total concentration the receiver must have. They were arms in front of him. He thought the ball was going to be knocked down, but he stayed focused on the ball.
Picks up 8 on that. Martin is having his best passing night this season. Clock down to 4.5 left in this game. Fake little inside handoff to Tyrone Gross, who gets maybe a yard on that. At least, Paul, they're making this kind of entertaining all the way to the end. Trying to stay in there, okay? The game's over, we know that. We have an injured player down around the 10-yard line in the secondary. That looks like it is Lewis, Jamal Lewis.
We're going to try and take a look and see what happened to Jamal Lewis. He is number 34, and all right. Here's the secondary. Let me do this. I can do this guy right here. That's him right here. And he slips and goes down. No, I'm sorry. I didn't have
right
it.
There.
He tripped over his own feet downfield. Can we do this again?
It looked like he just slipped. I don't know. Did he make? I couldn't tell if he made contact. He might have cramped up.
He either has a cramp or he pulled a groin. I mean, they were getting ready to make a play, and he was laying down here on the 10-yard line. They didn't know he was there.
So they help Lewis up. It's like a deal where they say, walk it off,
yeah, well,
as you walk off.
He's not walking that off.
Well, they say that. That doesn't mean you can do it. As they try to encourage you, hey, walk it off, be tough.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, easy for us all to say, yeah. And Lewis, and a little bit of concern there as well, naturally, because they're thinking ahead to next week. The one thing they wanted to avoid, no injuries. They already had one in Wendell Bryant coming into this game. Their fine tackle on the defensive line that is out with an injury. They brought in Sean Smith, who's filled in some of the backup role here tonight.
They're taking Jamal right to the locker room.
Yeah, there's no point even risking anything at this stage, and double checking on him. We'll try to get an update on Jamal Lewis on 2nd and 10 at the 39. Martin throwing, and it's picked off by Nick Turnbull, his second interception of the season. So Turnbull with his second interception of the season, the third pick tonight from the Vegas secondary. Wally Dada had 2 interceptions. Turnbull gets his, and now Turnbull, Dada, and Young all with 2 apiece, and they're tied atop the league standings for most interceptions.
Look at Turnbull. He lets everybody go by him. He just went back to the outside. Everybody, they were both running in routes or post routes, and Turnbull just stayed outside. He saw the ball, the 2 receivers didn't see it. The 2 other defensive backs didn't see it.
Turnbull has a great knack for being in the right place, right time. 2 interceptions on the season. He also has 2 fumble recoveries, 2 big fumble recoveries that helped Vegas out this year as Barthel gets another carry. And we talked about some of the other guys, you know, Paul, we're talking about possibilities of guys they'd be using in the NFL. Tay Biddle, another one that kind of jumps to mind, the fine receiver from Florida.
I think there are probably, now again, you got to look at teams that need receivers right now, and Biddle is one of those guys, and also the guy that we have here, Thorpe. There are about 3 or 4 more guys, but the question is who needs receivers? There are a lot of teams that need a lot more than just receivers.
Barthel carries across the 30.
I just think of all the quarterbacks there's 2 on each team basically, but the 4 quarterbacks, I just think that Brooks Bollinger is one of the guys that has a chance to go back to the National Football League. And here's a guy you were just talking about. This young man is a little special, man. I mean, he just catches everything, and just watching his moves, he's got outstanding feet in his hands. He's got those really soft hands, and he doesn't catch the ball at all with his body. It's all hands.
Former track star as well at Ole Miss, and he has some of that All-American track speed. You'll see it the way he runs his routes as they continue to keep it on the ground with Barthel.
And after the 2-minute warning, we're going to come up with another budding star in the UFL. He's here's another young man that I just think that with Las Vegas is Kirkus, and you look at these guys, 14.5 yards per catch, no touchdowns. But this guy, yardage-wise, when you look at him, he's another one of these guys that get open. I look at not so much can they catch the ball as can they get open, can they run patterns.
We come to the 2-minute warning and a special guest coming up when we come back to Las Vegas. You're watching the UFL on HDNet. Final regular season game in the inaugural UFL campaign. The championship coming up next week here at Sam Boyd Stadium, where this team, Las Vegas, will be taking on Florida. And it's time to take knees now and run this clock out and get this game over with to move on to the championship game. And a lot of people to thank associated with United Football League, and take a look there at Jim Fossil and all the coaches, how accommodating they've been to us. But Larry Upson, we've talked about him all the time. He's always with us up here. And Larry, you're the director of officials. I got to tell you, I think they did an outstanding job this year, being very serious. We've talked about this many times before, dealing with things like, for example, the able to throw the ball away at any time rule that you don't see, and trying to keep up with the rushing where you have to have 4 down linemen and you have to show the blitz. It's been kind of interesting for the officials, I think.
Yes, it has, and I think the officials have done an outstanding job. They have far exceeded our expectations in picking up these new rules, these different changes that are not in college and not in the NFL. I think they've done an outstanding job doing that, and they've let the players play and just kept things moving.
Right by Coach Fossil right there. He broke the barrier, the first female to be an official in the UFL or in professional
football.
Football, yeah. That's kind of neat.
Yeah, one of the major officiating publications this week came out with a nice article on her.
There she is.
Yeah.
Terry Valenti, as you take another look at her, we had featured her before as well. And, overall, I think it was a good brand of football. Just a little bit of everybody to start out, maybe even some of the officials, and how well these teams got together in a hurry.
Exactly, and that's one of the things we talked about. The quality of play has been so, it has just exceeded everything that we thought, coming into this season. And the officiating has been, and the coaching has been. TV production has been great. I'm pleased. I'm very pleased with it.
Well, the one thing we hear a lot of when we talk to the coaches, you don't hear anybody complaining about the officials, and that's a plus.
Exactly. I love that.
Larry, it's been a pleasure. Thank you for all your assistance
for having me with you this year. Thank you.
There it is. As you look at Tim Rattay, who started tonight, played all the way until near the end when Michna came in, as Lossman rests up for the championship. Las Vegas closing out strong and big, 41-7 over New York. And Jim Fossil, he talked about the first of the season. The championship runs through Vegas. We want to be at Sam Boyd for the title game. They will be, but right now he's with Ron.
Thanks, Kenny. Coach Fossil, your team could have easily been thinking about the UFL championship next week. They stayed focused, took care of business, and really dominated this game from the beginning. How pleased are you with their performance?
Well, I'm pleased, and I was on them all week. They thought they were going to take this one easy. It wasn't going to happen. I wanted to play well. I wanted us to play sharp, and I'm proud of them. They played hard and sharp. They were focused on this game.
You meet the Florida Tuskers for the UFL title next week, a team that you've faced twice already this year, still looking for your first victory against them. Give us your thoughts on the matchup.
Well, they're a good football team. They've proven that. Got undefeated, beat us twice. So we played a really good game against them and lost to them last time. So this is going to be a tough one. We're going to play outstanding to beat them. But, we'll look forward to trying to do that.
Coach, that's going to do it for the UFL on HDNet. Best of luck next week, and thanks for a great season.
Well, thanks. It's been great working with you guys. And I know your coverage. I got people watching the games saying it's a great presentation on TV, so thank you.
We appreciate that. All right, Kenny, Paul, back upstairs to you.
All right, thanks, Ron, and congratulations again. There you see Graham Gano had a spectacular kicking night, just all of his kickoffs going into the end zone. But we talked about Jim Fossil and Teddy Cottrell. It sounds like a love fest up here a little bit. Denny Green and Jim Haslett, but from day one, they recognized the importance of this league and what it meant, and everybody has worked really well together. And for what cliche sometimes that may be in some sports, it's really worked this year in the first go-around for the UFL.
Yeah, not only did they coach against each other in the National Football League for such a long time, when they got together here, they pulled all their resources together. When you have two teams that practice in Orlando together, live in the same hotel. Then you have two teams in Arizona doing the same thing. I mean, that is very, very difficult for players and for coaches to get along that way. It's tough when you're alone in your own training camp, let alone having another team. But I like what they really did, and I like the help that they gave us. There was nothing that we couldn't ask them that they would not do. They were very, very sharp on what they did, and I just can't see anything but success for this league.
Well, one of the smart things early on, too, for those people that were asking, remember us when we first started doing this, and people would ask us, thinking back, and we can go back that far to when Larry Zonka and Paul Warfield and Jim Kick were raided from the Dolphins to the Old World League, or when Herschel Walker, the underclassman, was signed with the USFL. This has never been about competing with the NFL. It's more of a compliment for players who might have a chance to get back to it.
And I think the National Football League did realize it right from the beginning. They did not, go up against these guys, and you never heard anything nasty about it. They didn't praise them a whole lot, but they didn't say anything nasty about them. But the nice thing about it, and here's what you're seeing here. This is a Las Vegas team, and these guys are signing autographs after the game, and they ask the fans to stay here and these guys will come out. That's Dorsey. And these guys, there's no hesitation about doing it, promoting their football team. And, you know, anything that happens in these times in our life that creates jobs, what can be wrong with that?
Nothing wrong with Temerate tonight. He stepped in beautifully for J.P. Lossman as he got a breather while he nursed a sore hand, his non-throwing hand. We'll be back to take a look at the stats and wrap it all up when we return to Las Vegas. 41-7, Locos win tonight over the Sentinels. This comes down to the two best teams. It was that way from the start. It was Florida and Las Vegas. They will meet here next Friday afternoon at Sam Boyd Stadium to decide the inaugural United Football League Championship. And Paul, looking back on this season, we talked about coming into it, some curiosity on our part. How would it be? It certainly has been well played. The enthusiasm of the coaches, second to none, and of the players stepping up throughout the season.
Yeah, we've talked about the players, everyone. I just want to say thank you to HDNet and to you and to Daryl. And, you know, I've met a great group of people that worked like hell to put this thing on. I mean, you people did it above and beyond. If you look at the pictures that we gave you, the things that we brought you, the hard work that everybody did on this entire crew, not just one person, they all realized right at the beginning, this is a team effort that has nothing to do with individuals. This puts everything in perspective. And I got to tell you, my friend, I really enjoyed it.
Well, it's been an honor and a pleasure, and that is rare in this business, as you know, to get to work with a pro like yourself, Paul. I'm serious.
Appreciate it.
And the laughs along the way. I hope we can do it again down another road sometime soon.
Oh, we will.
We will.
I promise. We will.
We will. Thank you for being with us this season on the United Football League here on HDNet. We'll all be headed to the casino soon, but before that, we want to thank those that made this possible. Our executive producer of tonight's game and man of many talents, Daryl Ewald, directed by Hank Lena. Bo Vonsakoon, our feature producer. Chris Markwell, production coordinator. Mike Boyd, Ruben Jimenez in our graphics department. And our engineering crew, Dan Neighbors, Jeff Carmen, Andy Miranda, and our truck driver, Randall Moore, who goes all over the world with us, it seems, Todd Gordon and Derek Peacock. Doug Deems, our lead cameraman, Lonnie Thomas. Robotics, Bill Brennan. And a special thanks indeed to Ron Kruk and Natalie Taylor and my great broadcast partner, Paul McGuire. I'm Kenny Rice. We leave you with others we want to thank for making all this possible on HDNet. So long, everyone. Another turnover, a huge pick. It's Carter. Carter down the sideline. Carter with room. Carter gets to the 18. Holy cow, what a play by Jerome Carter. Great back. Throwing.